I discovered my wife and friend in a very suspicious position.
They were playing Twister with no clothes.
This is not a clear-cut cheating story,
All
so,
right, okay, so
I'm truly at a loss.
So it's definitely not Twister with no clothes.
No.
Okay.
My wife and I have been married for 15 plus years with kids. About 2 years ago, we started hanging out with this other couple we met through our school. We've gotten really close. I consider the guy my friend, and my wife also hangs out with his wife. When the four of us hang out with our families, there's usually a good amount of booze involved. By the way, this comes from throwaway 80812. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. The event in question happened right before Mother's Day, and I still haven't digested it. We were hanging out with the other couple, as usual, when my wife went to the kitchen with a guy to refill their drinks. I had a mostly full glass and was looking pretty comfy on the couch, still talking to the other wife, when I decided to go join them in the kitchen for whatever reason. When I got there, I saw my wife with her back against a wall, laughing, with my friend leaning over her, his mouth maybe kissing her neck or really close to it. They were both pretty wasted. I immediately screamed, "What the F is going on?" They jumped apart, looking shocked to see me, and my wife kept saying she could explain.
She's like, I can
Then do it.
explain. We were about to make out.
It was like out of a crappy Lifetime movie. We were all talking over each other, and then I started heading to the car, grabbing my kids on the way. I was about to leave her, but she climbed in the passenger seat anyway. I wasn't going to punt her out of the car with our kids in the back, so we drove home in silence. When we got home, my wife started crying. She told me that this is what happened. Weeks ago, he started doing random small things around her while we all hung out if my and his wife's back was turned. He would grab her hand or touch her hair. The most they spoke about it was that she said he should really stop doing these things, but then kept letting him or finding ways to be alone momentarily with him. She claims they never communicated by text or phone call, never met up, and never even kissed, except on her neck, I guess. In retrospect, I do think he was subtly flirting with her, but I thought at the time that it was the usual gentle teasing we would all do as friends. I asked her if they were going to kiss that night if I hadn't caught them, and she says she's not sure, but she may have let him. She says she's not even physically attracted to him, but enjoyed the validation she got from him putting these moves on her. She has had a long history of requiring a lot of reassurance that she's attractive and that I am still into her. She immediately let me have her phone and searched through it. I didn't find any text between them. I asked her if this would have led to spicy sleep, and she adamantly said no. The worst thing then was that I asked her if she had fantasized about him when she was with me or getting herself off. She said no to thinking of him while with me, but admitted yes to thinking of him when alone.
Okay, so like this is like the equivalent of like asking the bank robber, like, were you planning on stealing the gold? And they go, no, 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 no. Were you planning on stealing the silver? No, 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 no. Were you planning on stealing the bags full of pennies? Yeah, that's all I was going to take. I was just taking bags full of pennies. That was all I was planning on doing. So please don't use any assumptions that I was going to steal the gold. You can't.
Yeah.
Don't assume that. I was only going for pennies.
You have no
Old
proof.
Abe Lincolns.
Needless to say, I'm cutting off all contact with my friend. I told my wife I'm thinking about divorce, and she's begging me to reconsider. She's telling me we will go to counseling. I can track her location, all the things. This really sucks. I don't know how I can get past this betrayal. I don't know how I can trust her again, but I also don't know how I can leave what I thought was an amazing marriage and give our kids a broken home without attempting to try to work through this. I can't talk to any of my friends or family about this because it makes me sick, and I feel embarrassed that I let this happen. It's been hard pretending to be happy on Mother's Day for the sake of our kids. I can't sleep, have barely eaten, I can't concentrate at work. At home, my wife just cries all the time. What the F do I do? And edit, I just want to clarify one point since I have had many comments addressing this. We do not drink and drive. One of us is usually the DD and has like one glass of wine with food, while the other three get a little sloshed. Just needed to say this so people don't keep assuming we're putting kids in danger. I was not drinking the night this happened, and I'm sorry for not clarifying this before. And there is an update.
I mean, it sounds like whatever your issue your wife has in terms of like needing that assurance or reassurance, it sounds like it's something you're already aware of. Counseling, couples therapy for that first. You have kids. If you're just dating, I'd be like, it's over. But it's like, it's always more complicated when the kids are involved.
Absolutely.
And I don't even know. I don't know if that's right or wrong. It's just how I feel about it. It's like, you have to consider these other variables If you want to just break it down into science.
I think my thought on it is that OP should absolutely go through all the possibilities and stuff. But I think at the end of the day, it's like, do you think it's possible for you to regain any of that trust back? And if you don't think so, after you've gone to therapy, then you're allowed to say like, yeah, I don't think I can ever forget this moment. Sorry, it's taken me a while to get back to this. It's been really busy, as you can imagine. I appreciate all the support and advice for this difficult situation. Shortly after the original post, I did reach out to the other wife, asking if we could meet in person or at least talk on the phone to see if the stories matched. She's pretty much responded with a version of, we are planning on moving forward as a family and talking about it with you will not be conducive to that process for us. She wished me peace or some BS, and then both of them blocked both of us. I know there's other ways to contact them, but I'm not going to be that guy. We decided to start marriage counseling and have an appointment set up this week. I also finally convinced my wife to get therapy for her issues as well, but her appointment isn't until later in June. She is still being transparent and asking whatever question I have about anything. She is still maintaining that all she would ever do is flirt and a few touches here and there while we were all hanging out and would never have met up with him outside. She says she enjoyed the thrill of being found desirable by someone that was taboo. It got to her head. I looked through her phone many times again, more thoroughly, and I didn't find any deleted texts, apps, etc. I even looked at websites on how to catch cheating on phones and followed their advice on how to search. I hate to disappoint most of you who commented, but I am trying to give her this benefit and move forward with our marriage for now, as she has been an amazing wife otherwise. I do know that I may never have 100% of the truth. I'm not an idiot. I don't trust her fully, but maybe one day I can get there. Here's the tricky part. Our kids are in the same elementary school as theirs, and my wife is involved in the PTA. So there's a guarantee we will run into this family that's awkward. It's actually pretty surreal to go from being such good friends to no contact. My wife has begged me to not divulge any of this to anyone at the school or mutual friends, as she doesn't want our kids to lose friends or our family to be stigmatized. I mean, I do think that's a good idea. If you're planning on trying to work through this, don't tell everyone at school, because they're going to make their own judgments and they're going to be like, oh, why are you staying with her? Or,
because it might be out of your hands when you have the other half, when it's going to be him, his partner, which I'm sure he's spinning, being caught in his own way, which is now going to, who knows? But it's like, sure. It's a big deal to switch schools, but that
should be last resort. I do see her point about that, but I did follow your advice and spoke to a couple of my best friends from before about what transpired. They were shocked she would do this, but supportive when I told them I'd try to forgive her. I'm thinking of getting a therapist, though. I still don't want to tell anyone in my family because they can keep grudges and would use this against her forever. By the way, you can use your favorite podcast app to listen to episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search Poke Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. It's complicated, that's for sure, but it seems like you guys are trying to work this out, which is totally fair. You have kids. I think don't be hard on yourself. Like, if you find out that you cannot go back to the way things were, like if you reach a certain point where you're like, I have tried, I've put in all the work, and I still can't trust her. I still can't regain any of that, love that we had before. That is okay. Finally, I'm sorry I made the original post seem like we were all booziacs or something, but that's really not the case. We would get together and drink 2 to 3 times a month, and it was our main social drinking outlet. We would have maybe 3 to 4 drinks each, except for the one who was the DD. We don't drink when it's just the 2 of us, except for date nights. We don't do devil's lettuce or other substances. I just mentioned the booze to give context that we were both under the influence when this happened, not to give an excuse or serve as the focus of the story. Thank you again for all the comments. It was helpful to have a place to go to initially for this crap before I was ready to talk to people. It still feels like my life is turned upside down, and I still am hoping it's all a bad dream, but I think I've accepted it better now. And folks, that's the end of that story.
My coworker mocked my teammates, so I took revenge.
Take that revenge.
While I appreciate petty revenge, that takes a while to carry out. This is much simpler. Quick story that culminated due to the consequences of your action. With one particular team that my team has been having problems with. By the way, this comes from Comrade Lala, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm John.
I'm Sam.
I'm Keon. I'm so worried about him.
And we are here to give you good advice, freaking goofily. But we don't have all the answers, so if you know what to do, then type it in the comments. Some context. I am 34, female. I have a name at work with the new hires we brought on earlier this year, Work Mom. One new hire, I'll call her Gertrude, started it because I literally had everything on hand at my desk to help her when she randomly got stung by a bee. I love it because that sums me up in a nutshell personality-wise. I tell our team and the teams we work with closely that if they ever need something from my desk or coffee nook, they're welcome to it. And just to
I love a work mom. Just having someone that takes care of everyone. It's lovely.
Gertrude is also very kind, caring, and loves making connections with our teams and trying to help out in any way she can, so that way she can be as well-rounded of an employee as possible. It's great because she and I work off each other very well due to this. From what little I can tell about my work, I'm in QA, quality assurance, and the majority of our time every year is spent doing quarterly audits. Normally, they go over very well and quickly, and we have no issues, but when we do have issues, we write them as data sheets to be resolved at some point by the team that screwed up. Often it's as simple as, hey, you guys have a new procedure, but you didn't update your SOPs. Can you please do that? Or, hey, there was a massive reorg of your team, update that. And the worst offender being everyone's training is late. Please get everyone up to date. However, one team that another team member of mine deals with is definitely seen as the main problem child when it comes to these data sheets. It's worse than pulling teeth with them to reply or even update us on their progress. And one person in particular is an absolute see you next Tuesday and causes more issues than he's worth. I call him Neckbeard because of, if you can recall, the South Park World of Wars episode, he is that Neckbeard guy. I don't know his age, but it's close to ours for sure. This is where the petty revenge begins. So Gertrude would often go over there to see how she could help that team with work and audits coming up, and also because one of the guys on the team was a friend of hers outside of work. They text each other quite a bit. I met him too when he came over for the birthday cake I made for Gertrude and thought he was pretty cool as well. But one day Gertrude went over to see if she could help with their progress on 7 of the data sheets this team had against them, and brought Halloween candy with her that we keep in a cauldron that I brought in. I'm one of the office goths/witches, lol. Upon entering their small lab area that was across the hall from us, the whole problem team grabbed some of the candy. When Gertrude turned to Neckbeard and said, "Any chance I could help you with those data sheets?" Neckbeard literally waved her off and said, quote unquote, "Be gone." The entire team plus Gertrude's friend laughed at her, so she thought Neckbeard was kidding at first and nervously laughed with them, but then they laughed harder. Gertrude stopped and looked at Neckbeard and said, "Wait, you're serious?" To which he replied, "Yeah, I don't need your effing help. I know everyone has been breathing down my neck about these things, so be gone, you're dismissed." Still waving his hand dismissively at her. She came back to our cube and told me the whole exchange with a fed up look on her face, and began to gather her things and head home for the day and continue to work from there. To say that I became overcome with mama bear rage is an understatement, but this is where Neckbeard messed up, because you see, I was put in charge of tracking the data sheet's progress and sending out weekly emails informing not just the teams responsible, but also their supervisors and managers. And Neckbeard's data sheets were going to be 2 years late come the first quarter of the new year, 2025. Because of my tracking sheet, our new manager had been incredibly happy with the new communication between all the teams that the data sheets had against them. And apparently, Neckbeard lied to our manager, saying he was almost done and in active communication with the team about them. Neckbeard is out here spitting lies.
He sounds like he needs to be fired.
He needs to put down the Mountain Dew and freaking grow a pair, brother. So I calmed down and sought out our lead and updated him on the situation. Then I went to our supervisor, who had just come out of a meeting about the problem team and their outstanding data sheets. So when he saw the look of hate and discontent on my face, he knew something was wrong. He immediately started a new email to our manager and the problem team supervisor to let them know what had happened. Oh, and Gertrude's friend that laughed at her? He must have realized he messed up because he swung by shortly after the incident and asked if she was still in the office. I just smiled and said, "No, she left." And he cursed under his breath and took off back towards the lab. That was about the end of last week when this occurred. My update on what's going to happen to Neckbeard is satisfying, at least to me. Where I work, you're allowed to work from home as long as you can be contacted and you can get your work done when it's due. I go in 3 days a week just to give myself a break from being at home. My lead informed me that the problem team's work from home privileges have been revoked.
Get him out of there.
That's right. That's right, Sam.
Wait,
It's
yeah,
gone.
I mean, that's kind of rough because I feel like work from home is kind of nice. It kind of be nice.
They don't get it anymore.
They don't get it anymore.
It's gone for them.
I mean, also, but in another, if you have a social job, that actually kind of sucks. I feel like I would rather work with people than be alone in my room.
But do you want to work with Neckbeard?
Well, no.
That's who you got to work with.
Ooh,
That's your option.
Maybe not.
Neckbeard and his problem
It's a
team.
lose-lose situation.
It's a lose freaking lose.
I don't want to be in his problem situation.
That's right.
You could be Milo Thatch.
That's what I've been told.
Oh,
I mean, you look exactly like. We've said this so many times.
Is that the Atlantis guy?
Yeah.
Right. That's a really good one.
I need
honestly.
to get the big old glasses,
That's true. I mean, even those are.
but I need the circular ones.
It does complete it.
Yeah.
They must now be in certain hours of the day, which is another slap in the face because the rest of us can log in whenever we want. And paid time off they had planned has now been rejected. They were all being written up. This will probably also affect any future raises they may get. Moral of the story, don't be a knucklehead to someone who's just trying to freaking help you. And we do have an update. So I'm trying to call how long ago this all started, but I'll say around 3.5 weeks ago, the problem child team got a new supervisor, 50s-ish male, due to a reorg merging going with our department. I know this new supervisor because he was a project lead for another department that I back up for. Even funnier, the supervisor was a well-respected coworker of my husband's when they used to work on the projects together before I joined the team. And my husband was in an adjacent team, so no conflict of interest. A few of us from QA were the first to find out he got promoted to supervisor, and we had been talking with him when he came over to clean out his new cube, which is right across from ours. The new supervisor is a great guy and overall has a fatherly vibe. After getting to know me and Gertrude more, he seemed to really like talking with us and would always come back to say good morning and check on various project statuses. I didn't outright tell him what the problem team did to Gertrude since it happened before his promotion, and they had already been disciplined. However, once the late data sheets came up in the conversation, it was fair game to tell him what had happened. He looked genuinely shocked, and I could see the gears turning on how he'd handle the team in the future. He thanked me for holding them accountable. Since then, he's been emailing me and our manager about the data sheets. They now have a new completion date for the new year, and the new supervisor is getting serious results from the problem team. He's freaking spanking their booty cheeks into action. He has the same get your crap done now attitude that he had as a project lead. On top of that, he suggested a surveillance audit on his teams so that way we can meet more of these quotas for the new year. Guess who volunteered for the problem team? Yup, me. I will be conducting all surveillances with that team from now on. So basically, she's the one in charge of making sure they frickin' get their frickin' butts in gear and saying, go, you frickin' donkey. Get those data sheets in, you data sheet donkey. So Gertrude doesn't have to deal with them again. They'll only get a day's notice and have to adhere to the meeting time I set. I'm thinking 6:30 a.m. So it's bright and early, lol. Fast forward to last week, right before Thanksgiving vacation, my supervisor came into my cube for his usual good morning update. He handed me a piece of paper and said, take a quick look at that for me. I thought I messed something up. All I saw was my employment information and higher-ups' signatures. Congratulations, you definitely deserve it. It was my raise for the year. Let's freaking go.
Get
Take
your
that,
flowers,
Neckbeard.
OP.
Yeah.
Get your flowers.
And I had finally been given my title promotion that I've been fighting for since last year. My manager even added a smiley face to the bottom of the page. I was thrilled. Later that day, Gertrude also got her raise and a title bump too. By the way, you want to know a guaranteed way to get a raise and become a billionaire instantaneously?
Tell me, John.
And this is guaranteed, and you can sue me if you think this is wrong, because it's not.
Prepare your lawyers.
Get your lawyers ready, because if you go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and listen to our show there, you will instantly have $10 trillion. That is a personal guarantee. You can sue me all day long. So to top it all off, later I got a severance report email. I'm a security rep, so I get them weekly. And whose name was on the list? Who do we think is freaking gone?
Ooh, I wonder who.
The coworker who laughed at freaking Gertrude. She had cut off all communication with him, so she didn't know he was quitting. I don't blame him. He got his privileges revoked because of Neckbeard. I can't confirm what happened to the rest of the team, but the office gossip says they're all looking for new departments to work in, probably because they got the bare minimum raise or none at all. So ends the Neckbeard incident for now. There's nothing more.
My mother-in-law is furious that we got married without her knowing.
But it's my marriage.
Right? And this comes directly from the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Because one of our own. I, 27 female, and my husband, 31 male, have been married for 5 years, but together for 11. We have 3 children, preteen, child, and baby. This post is regarding his mother. The fallings out listed here are the big ones. There were often lots of little snide remarks and jabs made. They didn't really fit into this thread, really. Unfortunately, we've had multiple fallings out and have cut each other out of our lives. By the way, this comes from Express B 1852, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, first was when our eldest was turning 2, and she told us that she had already purchased and personalized a birthday present, which we had already bought. We politely, as possible, declined, but it wasn't taken very well. I distinctly remember a phone call between my husband and his mom, where not even on loudspeaker, I heard her say, "Oh, it's that witch's problem, isn't it?" referring to me and insinuating that it was just me upset at her for trying to gift a present we had already bought, not my husband too.
That's crazy vibes to just call
Yeah.
your daughter-in-law a witch.
Yeah, don't like that. Thinking about it, it was mainly me upset, but my husband had my back. We weren't really the same after that for a long time, went very low and basically no contact, and she actually gave the present anyway. Background, it was a 2-part present, a baby pram, and her first ever doll. Mother-in-law sort of voiced, "Well, I kindly backed down from gifting the doll, so I get to give the pram." I was definitely more upset than my husband, but didn't want to rock the boat any more than it already was, and just quietly kept to myself. It was at a birthday party for a cousin that mother-in-law attended that we tried to rebuild the bridge and got a little familiarity back. At that party, his mom invited his sister and his mom out to lunch. I later learned this, but it was set up as an intervention to tell him how much the family hated me. Oh, wow. Considering I'd only met them a handful of times, any opinions they had of me were definitely drip-fed through their own feelings. My husband tells me at a much later date about this lunch and says that his sister stayed mostly out of it, although it sounded like she did know that it was her mom's intention for the meal. Fast forward to my husband getting ready to propose in 2017. He was ring shopping, and again, unbeknownst to me until much later on, his mom, who he took to help him choose a ring, reminded him that his whole family hated me while they're ring shopping to propose. That's crazy.
This is a great way to make your son go no contact with you.
Yeah.
Why would you do this?
This is on you. This is on you, Mom. Come on. They thought that I was controlling and manipulative, etc. At the time, my husband has said that he felt like his mom was making him choose between me and her. He felt he was being made to decide between the family he was born into and the family he chose to have, our family. These 2 incidents put a divide between us and mother-in-law, although I didn't really know as to why. Honestly, for a while, my husband did start to wonder if what she was saying had any bearing, if I was as manipulative and self-absorbed as his mom made out. It's now 2020. Thanks to the vid, we got married in secret. Just myself, my husband, and our 2 daughters. It was incredible, and we were filled with so much love. We had planned to have a big wedding where we could have all our loved ones in the following year, with an announcement during the speeches that we'd actually already gotten married the year before. 2021 came around quickly, but we soon realized we wouldn't have the big wedding that year due to restrictions placed on traveling. Some of our guests would be coming across the world. So instead, we announced our marriage via Facebook. Sure, that's a
Wow,
pretty
okay.
equal way to do that.
Yeah, okay.
That's really funny. We messaged both sets of parents first with the photo and then popped it on social media. My parents were thrilled, but his mom wasn't. "You got married without me? How could you get married without me? How does OP's family feel about this?" etc. Mother-in-law, semi-understandably, was upset not witnessing her son getting married. This is important for later.
Well, I mean, why would she be able to witness him getting married when she's been like, I hate your partner?
Honestly, I think no matter what, she's going to complain about something.
Yeah.
If she got the wedding invite, she would just be saying that the whole
And
time.
she'd probably she'd be ruining it. She'd be like, don't do it. When the guy goes,
Yeah.
speak now, forever hold your peace. She'd be like, she sucks.
Yeah.
Boo. And it'd be like, thanks, Mom.
Yeah. like someone to go wheel her out, get her out of there.
Get out of there.
But yeah, so of course they got married in secret. Mom, come on. So she did think we had a normal wedding without her and took some convincing. It was only our immediate household that attended. Again, we were rocky for a bit, but made the effort to host and go around for dinner, etc. But it was awkward to say the least. Not a happy family. Fast forward to 2022. We were getting ready for our big wedding. Invites went out and most of the RSVPs came back, bar one or two. Husband had to remind his mom twice before receiving a message a day before the RSVP deadline that she wouldn't be attending due to a surgery she was having 6 weeks beforehand. Now, I can't for the life of me remember what it is for, but at the time we found out that it was a keyhole surgery with a quick recovery time, so this excuse really did upset my husband. Husband was pretty upset. She was devastated that she missed our actual marriage, but now wouldn't be attending the party. He wasn't expecting much from her. To sit down, smile, laugh, be a part of his side of the family. Yes, we did have some of his side of the family attend. So for his own mom to decline, despite their recent differences, broke him. About a week after she declined the invite, giving her a chance to change her mind, this is when crap hit the fan, as if it already hasn't yet.
Oh boy.
Oh, it's about to get real stinky up in here. A heated back and forth chain occurred. Lots of what she said went along the lines of, something terrible must have happened to you in your life to be so filled with hatred. I've lost count of the number of times you've hurt me over the years. You've ripped my heart out. I lost my son the day he met you. Let's hope that the husband's name wakes up. It's so dramatic, my goodness.
I think you actually lost your son like the day you were just like, yeah, your fiance and your future wife sucks and I hate her and I don't want anything to do with her.
We all hate her. We all have been talking about how much we hate her and we need to have an intervention with you so you don't marry her. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out, Mom.
Like,
Peace.
come on. She tried to suggest her strained relationship with her grandchildren was my fault and not due to her own lack of effort. I reminded her it's always her pain and never her son's that she's concerned with. I said, I couldn't care less if you turned up or not. It doesn't change my life in the slightest, but for my husband and for our daughters, it would have been nice for you to make an effort for once. And that is a quote from OP. Boom. That's a great way to say that. Oh, there's more.
The quote continues.
The quote continues. Not knowing about the wedding wasn't exclusive to you. We ran away and wed because we were in a pandemic. You should have been thrilled, not acting like a little spoiled child. The messages finished with her telling me, oh, and by the way, the only reason I haven't laid you out is for the sake of the kids. Think about that one, love. And keep looking behind you. Just a bit of advice. These are like the most like cheesy, threatening lines, and I'm not threatened by them at all. That's so crazy. That was the final nail in the coffin. Husband totally cut her off. No contact. Just a week before the wedding, husband received one final message from mother-in-law, which I've condensed down. I hope you realize you made the biggest mistake of your life by marrying that witch. I will never forgive you for letting her treat me how she has after everything I've done for you. You are in such a controlling relationship. Why don't you wake up? I never want to see or speak to any of you again. As far as I'm concerned, you don't exist.
Yeah.
Get a backbone and stand up to her. You are no longer my son.
Yeah, you're in such a controlling relationship. Break up with her right now or I'm disowning you. Then that's not controlling.
Do what I say.
Yeah.
And get out of that controlling relationship so you can stay in this one.
Yeah, you can only be in one controlling relationship at a time, and it should be with me.
Come on. Oh my gosh. This is so crazy, dude.
Ridiculousness.
Ridiculous. This was 2.5 years ago, and the no contact has remained the entire time. However, he has started saying how he wants to make amends just in case she passes away. His words. He's worried that she will pass away. She's in her 60s, and that's how things were left. Now, don't get me wrong, I have no idea the predicament my husband is and has been in. We have a good relationship with my side of the family. To be told it's us or her on multiple occasions can't have been easy. It just concerns me. I feel like she'd think she was right, and more importantly, she'd think my husband thinks so too. I've asked, too, if he thinks anything his mom has said is true, and he's adamantly denied. I do feel hurt he could forgive her or try to move past it after so little time.
You know, there is something to be said about, like, it's hard if somebody passed away because you can't undo that at all.
Right.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, all is forgiven or forgotten.
Yeah.
Like, it's just more like a logistics decision of, like, I'm going to try to have something here.
Right.
And
yeah.
it's like, if you can be like, yeah, so here's the deal. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like
I
one of
know,
those
it's
things.
Very complicated. It might honestly be a thing where, like, could be mostly for him, you know? I mean, like, if he has something he wants to say to her, you know, about things that he was grateful for somewhere in their relationship, like, maybe it's something like that he just kind of needs to get out. You know, maybe he can write it on paper first and see if he feels like he wants to tell her it or something.
It's more like catharsis for him, for sure, more than, like, forgiving her for everything.
Right.
And then, you know, I always like to say, silly baby. You just got to treat her like a silly baby when she starts saying silly baby stuff like she hates your wife. It's like, that's a silly little baby thing to say, silly goo goo gaga.
I wish my mom wasn't acting like a silly little baby, but what can you do? You know, that's just all it is, really. I do feel hurt that he could forgive her or try to move past it after so little time. I know I feel like the wounded party. Most of her jabs were aimed at me, but they did cut deep. Deep down, I know that this will happen again. He opens his life up to her again, and she hurts him. It's what she does. But watching him fall into that again is hard. I've plainly told him if he pursues a relationship, I am continuing no contact with her. What she said was too much for me to try and reconnect. But should I allow my children, one of whom she hasn't met, a relationship? Selfishly, I know, but I don't want them to like someone that hates their mother so deeply. Is it even my call to make? Am I wrong to try and discourage rekindling a relationship with my mother-in-law? And we're going to answer that in just a second, but you would never be in the wrong if you just found more episodes of stories just like this one. Just go to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, or whatever your favorite podcast app is and search OK Storytime. They're all there.
Yes.
What's our answer to that question?
My answer would be no. But I do think that the way you need to go about this is just between you and your husband, have a conversation about how you're feeling about it and, like, where you want the boundary to be set. Like, where do we go back to no contact? Like, create a game plan together.
Yep, I completely agree. There is a little bit of an edit, a little background info. Mother-in-law never had a good relationship with her own birth parents. Mother-in-law and father-in-law are no longer married. During most of this story, she was remarried, but that marriage recently ended. Both marriages, husbands were borderline controlling, telling mother-in-law they didn't like her friends, forcing sister-in-law to go in low contact with mother-in-law due to a falling out regarding second husband. Also, none of mother-in-law's kids' partners have been good enough for their children. Sister-in-law's ex-husband was supposedly manipulative and controlling. Brother-in-law's girlfriends have always had something wrong with them. Ex has kids. He never wanted kids. Why? It's so boring. He won't be tied down, etc. And that is the end of that story.
My husband's affair was exposed by an anonymous letter in the mail.
Bro got exposed by the Pony Express.
Throwaway, obviously. I've been married almost 35 years. Yes, to the same person. And while it hasn't been perfect, it's been all right. Kids, dog, white fence, I've got those. Our personal lives have suffered somewhat. I went from being a V on my wedding night to stepping out of my comfort zones to please him spicily, where Saturday will mark 6 years since we've been intimate at all. By the way, this comes from Powerful Cattle 4503. And if you want to submit your own stories just like this, or maybe not like this, just go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit and do the thing. And here is what Opie has to say. For the longest time, I thought he was having an emotional affair with his male friend that he had fished with, but who would become ill with the big C. He would drop everything and anything for him, including plans we had, plus there were a few texts that were not spicy related, were more than friendship. But for some reason, while I was hurt, I was not threatened. I know he is extremely ill. There is no physical relationship going on. His time is short, and once this was out of his system, he would back to his normal self and me, his wife. I'm really sorry if my words sound crude. That's not how I want them to sound, but I thought once his friend passed, my husband would be back to me. So I was gone this past week for dog sitting and house sitting for my sister, and got home last night to check the mail. There was a blank envelope with everything typed. Inside was a short note. Dear Mrs. Redacted, I am writing this letter to inform you that your husband, redacted, has been having an affair with a neighbor of yours in redacted by the name of Redacted. They have been sleeping together and having an affair for over 2 years. They meet at the pool area and the dog park in your community. They often go away on weekends together camping or to various hotel rooms. I feel like you should know what is going on and why blank is gone so much. I have also seen him drop off your dogs at her house. No woman should have to find out about an affair this way. I am sorry, I just thought you should know. I know who the female is. It's one of his, quote, friends. I am completely devastated. To me, a woman is harder to compete with. What does she have that I don't? I decided to get healthy and lost weight. I have lost...
Wait, I'm sorry. I have to immediately find it funny that you find a woman harder to compete with when you literally don't have the same equipment as the other guy, which would make it a lot harder to compete with if that's what he wants.
Yeah.
Just funny. I'm sorry. I just had to point that out. But I understand psychologically where you're coming from, but it's just funny. We have to find funny stuff where we can, because there's not much that's funny about this.
No, not at all. But if you can make the humor just lighten a little bit, smile before you cry.
Okay.
Are you ready to cry, Dakota?
Not yet. Let's go back.
Okay. I decided to get healthy and lost weight. I've lost over 130 pounds, but I don't hear nothing from him. I went to the doctor last week dressed nicely, and he told me I was embarrassing him, that his wife was running around town looking like a witch with her frontal airbags out.
Okay. Leaving him just based on that.
Yeah, that's not great. I had on a simple, off-the-shoulder white eyelet top with dark jeans. Since finding this out, I've become obsessed with finding evidence. I stalk her Facebook, check their call logs. He calls her an average of 6 to 8 times a day, with calls lasting 5 to 15 minutes. I'll drive by her house. I'll type and delete her name, phone number, address, wanting to confront both of them. I wonder what she has that I don't, how I can fix this, if I even want to fix it, if he does. What do I do? Where do I go? How? I've cried for 2 days now. I can't stand to look at him, and I'm afraid to talk to him. And there are comments.
Well, I think let's just go ahead and get into it.
Okay. The comments are, the affair partner obviously wrote this note. She wants you to know. Reply is, I'm thinking so too. Since he won't leave, now the wife will. Exactly, because how would a neighbor or bystander know how long it's been going on and know for certain that they are intimate? Sleeping together for 2 years? Reply, a neighbor doesn't need spy cameras in the house next door to know that a random guy with a wedding ring shows up to their not married neighbor's house and stays the night and sees hugging or kissing outside. Not everyone is oblivious to their surroundings.
That is true. Like,
pattern
I
recognition.
know a ton of old ladies who would immediately know what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Where they call them window watchers.
Yes.
That's who they are. There's one in my neighborhood that I grew up in.
Oh, good Lord.
She knows everything. If it happens outside, she knows it.
Not everyone is oblivious to their surroundings. I have to admit that I am, and I probably wouldn't notice, but I think a lot would. The reply, I can sit outside and hear all the effed up drama my neighbors talk about. They think their fences are soundproof. It's really not hard to know what's going on. There are things I've heard that haunt me. There's an update.
So do you think it was the affair partner? I don't. Personally, I don't.
The fact that I think that they know that they've been going to hotels and this and that and the other, possibly, unless they talk about the hotels, it could just be a side neighbor who just knows and wants to help this woman or wants to be part of the drama or start drama. Whatever their motivation is, there is a chance that it is just a normal neighbor, but it could also be the affair partner who either wants to get caught or just wants it off their chest.
Well, I think that comment was saying that it's like a way to get them together officially, because once the wife knows, then she'll break up with him, and then he'll finally be able to just be with her.
But maybe the guilt is getting with him while he's married still. Maybe once the wife is out of the picture, the guilt is gone.
Yeah, and by the way, being an affair partner is being an affair partner, not being an actual partner.
You are the side piece.
Yeah.
You're
Once
not the main
the side
priority.
piece, always the side piece.
And then at that point, how do you ever know that he's not got a second?
He's
side
going to
piece?
do it to you.
It's
And
a
you'll
slippery
deserve
slope.
it. Honestly, you'll deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to do it to you, and you'll go, how could this happen? Oh, wait, I did this to someone else.
Solution, divorce, immediate.
Yeah, it's divorce time.
Update. Quite a bit has happened since then, some good, some not. I finally broke down and told my kids. Those were extremely difficult calls to make. I told them everything, took responsibility for my part, and admitted I could have done things better. Wait, what? What responsibility? And what could you have done better? It's not your decision that someone has an affair. My kids, all older now, said that while I wasn't perfect, I did my best with what I had, and that didn't excuse his cheating. My eldest wanted to come out and go a few rounds with his dad and confront the other women. I told him it wasn't worth it. My second son is my thinker. He didn't say much, but you could tell he was processing deeply. My third son said, "It's about time. With the way he talked to you and treated you, I hope you're thinking about leaving." I was honestly on the fence. He would flip-flop between "I want to work on us and fix us" and actions that said differently. My past 2 weeks have been the worst. Since he's been using my son's car, my son put a tracking device on it. Yes, I have access to it. No, he doesn't know about it. He would tell me he was going to one place and go straight to the other woman's house. I'd ask where he was, he'd lie to my face. I kept notes until I couldn't anymore. Father's Day was the breaking point. Oh, that's an ironic day to expose an affair.
Kind of funny.
I had worked the night before, got off at 8 a.m., texted him about what he wanted for dinner, stopped at the store, bought everything, came home, got it started, and tried to nap. Mind you, he did nothing whatsoever on Mother's Day. He woke me up to borrow $40 to go to a sporting goods store. I said fine, but dinner would be ready in an hour to an hour and a half. Please don't be late. 2 hours later, he wasn't back. I checked the tracking. He went straight to her house and hadn't moved. I drove by. His car, which was the son's car, was parked in her garage, hers outside. I came home, more upset for my son than myself. I texted him, "You need to come home. We need to talk. I know you're not at the sports store." Nothing. After 30 minutes, his car still hadn't moved. So I called her. Of course, she didn't answer. I left a voicemail. "I know my husband is at your house. You win. I'm done. It's obvious he wants to be with you. I'm tired of the lies, tired of the BS. He doesn't want someone who has loved and fought for him for 35 years. I'm done. Come get his dog and his stuff. You've won." 10 minutes later, he came in with a Walmart bag, claiming he went to Walmart, then to a friend's. He went to a friend's, all right.
What an absolutely pathetic little baby.
I made tacos for him, dished up servings for my son and me, and threw the rest in the trash. He gave me an attitude because she feels threatened now since... Wait, hold on.
He gave you an Wait, what?
Wait, what? Hold on. He said he's at Walmart and a friend's, but now he's claiming that she feels threatened. So is he admitting to the affair or what? He gave me attitude because she feels threatened now since I called her. Now she has to change her number and will lose clients in her line of work. I didn't threaten her. I told him if he wasn't happy here, he knew where the door was and was welcome to use it. He was quiet all week, but was a knucklehead as well. His only concern was seeing that woman. When I had melanoma removed and needed a driver, he took me. But when I got in the car, not one word. No, "How are you?" No, "How did it go?" No, "Are you okay?" All he said was, "I'm hungry." It was the 30th anniversary of losing my sister to melanoma, so I was extra sensitive. Little things kept adding up. He was forgetting things I needed or had asked for. I was at the bottom of his list. On our son's birthday, he couldn't even wait for him to blow out the candles before he went to her house. Last Sunday was it. My final bit of energy for this marriage. He was going through the kitchen cabinets, pulling out soup, saying he was taking it to a couple stranded down the road in a broken down RV. I gathered a few more items and he left, but he left the bag on the counter. I checked the tracker, yep, straight to her house. I texted him, "I don't understand why you need to lie. There is no dog park, hiking trail, fishing spot, sporting goods store, broken down RV, or Walmart on Bunker Hill. Why not be honest and tell me you're going to her house? It's obvious, regardless of what you're saying, you don't want to work on our marriage. You have been and are choosing her over your family." I tried calling him. He didn't answer, so I texted, "Didn't think you would answer." Not even 5 minutes later, he came screeching into the driveway, slamming into the house, screaming. I told him I was tired of him lying. Just tell me he is going to the witch's house. He's been going this entire time and still lies about it. Doesn't he think if I'm questioning where he is, I already know? He called me choice names and ignored me for the rest of the night. I'm sure my neighbors loved it. By the way, I'm pretty sure you'd love it if you listen to episodes just like this on your favorite podcast platform. There's over 71 days of content up there right now. Just type in OK Storytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, and enjoy it without the guilt.
We'll be there.
We'll be there without the guilt of having to lie what you're listening to.
Yeah.
You can always be honest about what you're listening to. My God, girl, leave this man. I cannot believe. I mean, I guess 35 years of marriage makes you reluctant to leave, but as soon as
he doesn't want you anymore, so why is the divorce not already being processed?
why are we not? Yeah, why did we keep trying? I'm sorry, but it's like
He's not trying.
as soon as it was like the whole thing with the anniversary and on Father's Day, the Father's Day should have been it. He comes home. He's like, I was at the store. No, I know you were with her. I know that's not your friend. I know you were with her boinking.
He's very stupid. He's just very, very stupid and thinks she's stupid.
Well, it's time to go. I'm glad. I feel like we're getting there. Please, for the love of all that is holy, tell me this story ends with you beginning divorce proceedings at the very least.
Let's find out, shall we? Yesterday, Monday, I went to file for divorce
Thank God! Thank you!
and got crap news.
No. No!
Your joy was very short-lived there, Dakota.
What does that mean?
Because he's a 1099 employee who hasn't technically worked in almost 2 years, although my bills are paid, and because I'm not on his bank account, never have been, I've always asked him to pay for money. And because he stopped me from doing his taxes 3 years ago, saying they were too complicated for you, if I filed for divorce right now and asked for alimony, he could immediately file to lower it, and the judge could agree with him.
Would he, though? Who's
Could.
telling you this?
Could. The answer is not
Okay.
would he. It's legally the judge would have grounds to do it if, for example, they spun a sob story, or if the judge was friends with him, or if the judge was a misogynist, or
God.
if any of these things, if there's one thing that doesn't go OP's way, he could have that alimony lowered.
Ugh.
My lawyer suggested waiting 3 months to file.
Okay, do the divorce in 3 months.
He's working again as of this week, submitting paper bids, so I'm to collect as much evidence as I can in the meantime. He was impressed with how much I already had, so I'm planning on playing it cool until September.
Okay.
And that's it.
We're
That's all
playing
we
the
got.
long game. We're still doing the divorce. We've met with the lawyer. Long game. We're doing it. Baby, that's beautiful. Let's go. Get
Yeah.
out of there. And honestly, take every penny you can from him. My husband prioritized his friends over me during a trip out of the country.
Was he on the trip with you or the friends?
My husband and I took a trip to Mexico as one of his college buddies was getting married. There wasn't an official wedding party per se, but about 80 people flew out from all over the US for the event. The couple getting married have been together for about 9 or 10 years and have built some really wonderful friendships with some pretty awesome, funny people. By the way, this comes from user LeatherRadish3050, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
And we are here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We just know what we would do, so if you would do something different, let us know in the comments. OP says, some of those in attendance were people he went to college and high school with, but didn't regularly stay in touch with or reach out to on even the big events like holidays and birthdays. There were also many people we'd both never met before, but nonetheless ended up being super friendly, while some of the girls were not super open and friendly. It's been about 14 years since we've lived in our hometown where he met some of these people originally. It was my first time spending more than a few hours with any single person there. The trip itself was 6 days. For background, my husband makes quite a bit more money than me and had decidedly paid for the flights, as well as the stay for the all-inclusive 5-star resort we were staying at. This was really nice because it was super pricey, and I wouldn't have been able to swing paying half. I did not ask nor expect him to do this. It was his choice for us to go for such a long length of time, as the only official planned event was the wedding and reception to follow on Saturday night. Also, for background, I let my husband know before we traveled down for the trip that I was having some general anxieties, mostly good, and felt a little eager and nervous to be around so many people I didn't know on back-to-back days. I assumed we would take some time out of the 6 days to do something cute, just us, since we've also been married for about a year and have what I would call a healthy, loving relationship. He reassured me prior to leaving that he was also feeling a little nervous, but said we'd have a great time together. I already knew this, but I needed a tiny push of positivity. From the moment we landed for the trip, I let him know I needed to freshen up, and he preferred to go meet the group and didn't want to wait for me to get ready. Whatever. So I said, cool, just let me know where you're at and leave your ringer on so I can call because I knew I wouldn't find him. This resort is massive and so easy to get lost. I rinsed off, threw on my bikini, and tried to call him to see where he was. No answer. I called 15 minutes later, still no answer. I left the room to try and venture on my own, still no answer. I couldn't find him. At this point, I'd been trying to call or walk around for over an hour and was getting annoyed. He called back, already wasted, short with me, and told me to chill. He gave me vague instructions because he'd been drinking and then told me I had overreacted. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, though I was annoyed, and we started drinking at the pool. Already, huge just red flag that he doesn't have the patience to just wait for you to be ready. After about 5 hours of drinking, it was almost 6 p.m. and I was getting hungry. The concierge, when we checked in, had mentioned that a few of the included restaurants at the resort are delicious, so I had my sights set on a particular one. I said, hey, let's go to dinner. You haven't eaten, and I really need to get some food if we're going to continue at this pace. His response was that he wanted to be with his friends, and he wasn't hungry. We started getting into a tiny spat because it was the first night in town, and he suggested I go to dinner by myself, as he preferred to spend time with these people, some of whom he had never met. Buddy, you can go to dinner and come back and spend time with those people.
Also,
what are we doing?
ask those people. Maybe they're hungry too. I don't know.
Why are you pretending like you don't have a wife?
Right.
Stop it. I got upset, and he went down to his buddy's room. It felt silly, but I reminded him that we're married, and I was looking forward to it. His response was that if I was so hungry and didn't want to compromise, I could just order room service. After he left, I decided to put on makeup and a hot outfit, because why not? I'm in Mexico. I'm not going to just stay in and order room service. So I got dressed and made a reservation for one and was about to head out the door when he called me and said this big group was going to dinner. I said no. I made a reservation at this place. You said you weren't interested in going to dinner with me, so I made plans alone. His response was, do you know how that will make me look if I'm with this group having dinner and you're by yourself in a different place? Yeah, maybe you should have offered to, hey, we'll all get dinner as a group later or soon.
Right. Can we get a snack and then we'll go to dinner in an hour or something?
You're messing up here, buddy. You're prioritizing the group over your wife.
You're like really flopping this, dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
I didn't care for the drama, so I said I didn't care. I looked cute and was looking forward to eating what I'd already picked out from the menu, and if he really needed to be with me for the optics, he could join me. I found him in the lobby waiting for me, wasted, looking pissed, and giving me the silent treatment. The restaurant was full, and they couldn't update the reservation for two, so we couldn't go there. I ended up ordering room service, got an I told you so look, and he met up with his friends.
No, girl, you go to dinner. You say you can get room service, though, if you don't want to look bad.
Ay. He got back to the room around 2 a.m., incredibly wasted, and he peed in the bathtub. The next day, we wake up, and he's still annoyed with me. He wakes up super late and hungover, so we missed breakfast. I ordered a crappy breakfast through room service for both of us. Yeah, ordering bad room service when you're at an all-inclusive 5-star resort
Crazy.
sucks.
Girl, get up, get your own breakfast. Start doing things alone. You'll have a great time still.
Later that evening, after drinking and socializing for around 10 hours with nothing to eat, a similar situation comes up. I say, I'm hungry. Please, can we go get dinner? His response was no. He didn't want to be taken away from his friends. He told me to go get food by myself or order room service. Most of the other couples at this point had broken away to go get dinner or were making plans with their significant others. Mind you, this is a 5-star resort with incredible food options. Getting dinner alone is not really my jam and makes me a little anxious. I pulled my husband to the side, told him I was super hungry, and asked if he could just take 30 minutes, literally just that, to please go sit down with me. He said no. I was embarrassing him and making a scene in front of his friends. Brother, the only person embarrassing themselves is you.
Right. I guarantee every other couple is looking at him and being like, wow, he's really embarrassing. Not your wife.
You're out here cosplaying as a frat boy.
Yeah.
With like a clingy girlfriend. That's not what's going on.
Right.
You're an adult who's married to his wife.
And your wife's, all she's asking for is food after 10 hours of a 30-minute dinner with her husband.
Yeah. So I said, F it. let's just keep drinking. I might get sick or throw up from drinking all day, but God forbid he spends a moment away out of the 6-day trip to have a dinner with me. He says that his priority is to be with the people here at the wedding, his old friends and the people he hasn't met before, over me. Around 3 a.m., we get back from the bars, and the only room service they have is bad pizza. The next day, I'm over arguing or trying. He says he's going to go see who's at the pool and makes plans with other people about an hour before he would need to be at the wedding. I got ready by myself and was alone all afternoon. Some of the girls in the group he was with weren't super friendly or engaging with people that weren't in their clique. The people he was with all day were all new people he hadn't met, with the exception of one sort of friend from college who they hadn't spoken to in about 10 years. And by the way, you can listen to like 10 years worth of stories by going to your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. Just search OK Storytime, and you've got a whole plethora of full episodes with stories like this to listen to.
True.
You've got a little bit more story left.
I like.
How do you like diffuse this situation and get the husband to recognize he's just being so bad? Because clearly
Right.
OP has said multiple times that they've just sort of given up.
Right. So, like, my whole thing was, did they go into this trip on the same page of, like, because they are there for a wedding, they are there to be with friends, but, like, I'm totally on her side of, like, you can still, like, everyone else, too, is still doing their own couple stuff. So, did
Yeah.
he go in telling you, like, I'm going to be with the boys the whole time?
Well, no, at
like,
the
figure
beginning
it
of the
out?
story, she said that she had brought up.
Right, but was he also on that page?
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
Well, like he had agreed.
Apparently, right.
He had said, like, yeah. No, I hear
Like,
you.
it's their 1 year of this, and he's being such a little poopy boy.
He is being a poopy diaper baby boy.
Poopy diaper baby boy just wants to drink at the pool all day with strangers.
And it's like OP even like is doing that with him, and then when it's just like, hey, remember how I'm your wife? Don't you want to go
Right.
get dinner with me at the really nice restaurants at the resort that you're paying for? And he's just like, nah, babe, you're really harsh on my mellow. I'm just trying to chill with the boys.
Yeah, I genuinely don't know how I would handle it. I know that you would want to maybe try to catch him sober, which seems like a hard thing to do right now. But I'd be getting breakfast on my own. I'd be getting those nice hotel foods.
Yeah, I think if it just comes to the point where he's like, you know, I would bring up like, hey, I feel like you're really just like treating me like you don't want to hang out with me at all. So I'm gonna just do my own thing.
Right. Yeah. Have a great vacation still if you can. And then
But it
hash
just
it all out.
it just speaks to a larger issue.
Yeah. 100%. I'd be so mad.
Yeah. Well, he's being a horrible partner,
Yeah.
you know? Being a very, very childish, inconsiderate partner. Let's finish this story. Am I the a-hole for expecting my husband to break away and have a nice meal, or just want to have one-on-one time with me for even a tiny portion of this trip? I'm feeling a little hurt still, and he completely doesn't understand why I would anticipate any kind of devoted time or attention. He's even thrown in the fact that he paid for the trip and flight, and that I didn't even try to plan anything while we were there. These same people he was obsessing over prioritizing did not do the same for him. For context, his friends really loved me, and we all got along great. I don't intentionally mean to sound any type of way about wanting alone time. I'm just a bit more introverted, and 6 days straight of tequila and being with new people felt quite tiring. This might be our last trip together before he's away for work for quite a while.
Ooh.
No, I don't think you're an a-hole.
Not at all.
Is he like thinking so this 6-day trip, and maybe he's thinking like, oh, well, we're going to spend time alone after the wedding? Because I'm sure a lot of people are going to leave after the wedding. But regardless,
Even the fact that he left her to get ready alone for the wedding is
Right.
insane.
didn't get ready for the wedding together. Day one literally left you to get ready and like just ditched you for an hour. Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's just like
He's not concerned about you in the slightest.
he's fully regressed back to like college age.
Yeah. And half the time he's with people he's just meeting, not even his college buddies. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it would be a big strain.
Yikes.
I
And
hope
on the
I hope
1
you
year
still
roughly
enjoyed.
of their wedding.
Yeah, I hope you still enjoyed that trip, though.
I hope. My boyfriend finally proposed, but it feels like a shut up ring.
That doesn't have a very good ring to it.
My boyfriend, male 27, and I, female 26, started dating in 9th grade
Aw.
after he asked me out at winter formal in 2012.
Aw, that's cute.
We went as friends, but quickly hit it off and were together by New Year's. From there, we reached a lot of milestones fast. And honestly, we both figured we'd be married by 2017 or 2018. The excuse at the time was that we were young and still in school. By the way, this comes from Throwaway She. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. I finished college in 3 years and he did in 4. We both have our dream jobs and have a combined income of $144K per year.
Damn. Good
We
job.
have loans, but none of them are atrocious, and we lived in a home he inherited. That said, our life felt perfect by the time I was 22. That's when he started randomly inquiring about my ring size, my dream wedding, and whether or not I liked gold or silver jewelry more. When I turned 22, there was no engagement, but it wasn't a big deal. Then 23 came, and it was the same thing. So I started thinking it would happen any day now. 24 passed and the conversation became tiring. I started to ask what he was waiting for. He claimed the right moment hasn't come yet. It took me until age 25 to realize that he often used the promise of proposing whenever I was upset with him about something.
Ooh, I don't like that.
No.
I was gonna say you guys are living a great life.
By 26, I told myself that he had until he turned 27. His birthday was closer. After that, I was walking away. I got my own space ahead of time and followed through. The separation was peaceful, and he didn't protest much, if at all. Last week, about 2 months later, he showed up at my place. We had shared our locations a couple of years back and just never turned them off. I completely forgot about it. I wasn't creeped out or anything once he explained how he found me. After some catching up, he pulled out the box while sitting on the couch across from me. It wasn't the romantic on one knee moment, and I can't help but feel like I forced his hand. This feels more like a here, damn situation than anything else. He says I'm overthinking and that he didn't realize what he had until he lost it. He also said he never knew that marriage was that important to me. I kind of want to get back with him, but I don't want him to resent me later and say he was forced into marriage or anything like that.
Oh, come on, OP. You know what he's doing. You know that this was like he was like, oh, I know how to get her back immediately.
OP says, should I give it another chance? Comments. Cultural Shape 3518. He never knew marriage was that important to me. BS.
Yeah.
He knew. He just didn't think you'd actually be willing to leave him over it. In fact, he still doesn't, or he'd be taking responsibility for things, coming to this instead of trying to make it sound like your fault somehow. He thinks if he gives you this ring and you come back, he can go right back to stringing you along with reasons it's not the right moment to set a date for the wedding and start planning in earnest. Let him sort through why this hasn't been a priority for him, or just keep playing ignorant on his own, and keep moving forward with your life. Celestial Saint says, yep, feels like a shut-up ring because it is one. Damon Noir, he used the promise of marriage to manipulate you during fights. That's a huge red flag.
Yep.
If it's not the promise of marriage, it'll be something else. You've been dating for almost half your life. You don't know what other relationships are like. Heck, you barely know what you're like by yourself. Spend some time being a single person for a while and get to know yourself. You'll be better off for it. OP says, thank you. Was thinking of going to the cafe by myself for the first time today.
Whoa.
Girl, find yourself first. Find yourself.
Yeah. Good for you that you can leave your partner, because it seems like you guys were together for so long, and that when people do that, they get codependent really badly. So good on you that you were able to be like, you know what? I know what I deserve. I know what I want. I can't be manipulated.
Yeah.
And I hope, again, that ring doesn't make you come back or entice you. Maybe entice you for a second, but I hope it doesn't entice you like, I want to get back together with this guy.
Judgment, not the a-hole. Update. Hi, all. Earlier today, I made a post asking how I should navigate this situation. Short summary would be that my boyfriend of almost 13 years and I separate after the idea of marriage was dangled in my face for 4 to 5 years. We remained separated for 2 months before he suddenly reached out proposing. Many suggested I wait, but I already knew what the correct choice was. A lot of hard truths being pointed out to me made it hard to ignore. That said, I had the ring. I never told him yes, rather, I don't know. But he insisted I keep it. Given I decided I needed to move on, I wanted to meet so that I could give him his ring back. He agreed to at first, but was insistent on it being at either my place or his. I was already at the park with the ring in my car and just wanted a neutral meeting place, so I said no. He argued that it must not be that important then, so I said, okay, I'll give the ring to your mom when I have the chance. He didn't agree to meet, but this did make him FaceTime me, so we spoke that way. I was okay with that. The call started with him trying to negotiate a meeting location for a moment or two. Once he gave up, I told him I had a question about our breakup period. He told me I live in the past, but quickly backtracked when I said, okay, never mind, and attempted to hang up. He told me I wouldn't like the answer to some stuff, and he's right. He admitted that he saw 4 women during the 2 months, 2 of them being a threesome. He alleged to have wanted that experience before marrying me. He also claimed that he felt inferior to me in the recent years because of how put together I am, as if he's much different. I was in shock. I'd spent these last 2 months alone and trying to heal while he's having threesomes. It hurt. But it felt more like a disgust hurt than a betrayal one. Not because of the threesome, but because he thought he could just come back when he was done having fun. He asked me to come back to his place. He said, the kids, 2 goldfish,
Shut up!
miss me.
Oh my God.
I told him that I can't get back with him. I need to experience something new just like he did. He's all I've ever known. But saying this upset him and might have given me some real insight into how he felt. He called me selfish. I'm always thinking about myself. He brought up a time I went to the gym on his birthday early in the morning before proceeding to spend all day with him. He said I constantly make unilateral decisions, like this one. He accused me of being with another guy and said that's why I don't want him to come over. By the way, I always want you to come over to listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime. Hang out with some less frustrating episodes with us.
Honey, what am I trying to do right now?
Reach for me?
He's reaching.
He's reaching.
He's reaching so far. And he's trying to, again, paint you as the person who caused all of this.
Honey, I went on and had my fun. You don't need yours. You're already put together. Just marry me.
You're selfish.
Come on, like, just marry me already.
How dare you?
I know I waited 5 years to ask, but, like, you should just marry me now.
That's crazy.
You're probably already trying to cheat on me, so you should just marry me. The goldfish miss you.
Those 4 other women that I talked about you with them, they say that I should get back together with you. I think they're pretty smart.
I should have hung up earlier. My choice was already made. Once he'd known I was set in not rekindling, he was only looking to hurt my feelings. My father offered to return the ring so that I don't have to. And I've been advised to call the police if he shows up at my place again. Despite this, I feel good. I got some answers and saw what happened when he didn't get his way. Again, I appreciate the advice. Comments. Commenter 1, consider yourself. You dodged a huge bullet. Commenter 2 says he told you all that to hurt you because he saw how great you are doing right now without him while he is miserable. He thought he had you. Live your best life. His loss. Commenter 3 says, keep this post saved somewhere you can easily access. In fact, go a step further and detail everything from your conversation that you remember. Anything he said, anything you said, and especially how you felt. Something tells me this won't be the last time your ex tries to reach out. At some point, doubt will punt in, and you will wonder if you did the right thing. Trust yourself. You are doing the right thing. Be proud of yourself for loving yourself enough to know you deserve better. And if you start to doubt your choice, pull out this post and any other reminder that of who your ex is. Good luck.
Wow.
That's the end of that story.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a real catch.
you should send anytime he texts you, or if he does text you, just send him that link
Just
to your
block
post.
him.
Well, send him the link to the post first, and then
And
block them.
him.
Yeah, OP, you definitely deserve someone. Wow, that was like crazy.
Yeah.
You definitely deserve someone who wants to marry you and not use marriage as a tactic to manipulate you or
And not
string
throw
you
a
along.
little meanie attack at you when he doesn't get his way after he had to get his fun out with some other girls.
Ugh.
My cousin ruined Easter and tore our family apart.
The Easter Bunny costume was all wrong, wasn't it?
That's exactly what it was. And they hid the eggs in the wrong spot.
They hid the eggs
The wrong basket.
in the freezer.
Frozen eggs. This happened last Easter, and my family is still divided. I'm a 24-year-old woman, and I have 8 younger cousins. I get along well with all of them, except the 13-year-old, who we'll call Chris. Chris is an only child and very spoiled. My aunt doesn't have many rules for him, and doesn't really care what he does. By the way, this comes from Booter Scooter 55. I'm so happy I got to say that. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit, but you better have a fun name like that one. And I'm Carly.
I'm Dakota.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, he also has some anger issues. If things don't go his way, he throws tantrums, growls, and even gets physical. When we play video games and he doesn't win, he starts growling and swearing. We have to take the controller away from him like a little kid, which causes my aunt to yell at us and make us turn the game off because it upsets Chris. For the past few years, I've thrown an Easter egg hunt for my 2 youngest cousins, who were 3 and 5 when I started. The first 2 years, Chris and my aunt didn't come, so I didn't have any issues and the kids loved it. This year, they came down, and I was debating whether to include Chris. I asked my mom what she thought, and she suggested that since Chris was too old, instead of excluding him, I could make him a goodie bag and have him help me hide the eggs. I thought this was a good idea since he's much older than the other 2 and doesn't know limits very well. I didn't want to find him throwing a tantrum if things didn't go his way. Fair. The day of the egg hunt, I gently told him the hunt was for the younger kids and that he could help me hide the eggs. I mentioned I had a goodie bag for him inside, but he threw a huge fit. He started getting physical, broke a bunch of the eggs, and wrecked one of the Easter baskets. When I told him to stop, my aunt got involved and gave me an earful. She said I shouldn't have excluded Chris and that I owed him an apology. Your son shouldn't have gotten physical over an Easter egg hunt.
Yeah.
My guy.
What are we talking about? Your son went on a rampage. Do you know how many tantrum rampages I went on at the age of 13? 0.
0. I was going to say goose egg, but in this case, Easter egg.
Yes. Egg. I went on egg number of tantrum outbursts. And this is, to be clear, really not his fault. It's probably just a behavioral issue. Young little teenage brains can be very complicated, especially now that they're just pumped full of digital media all the time. So
It
it's
also
something to be addressed.
Sounds like it's a known issue, though, so maybe his mom should have been getting him help for it,
Yeah.
if possible.
Instead, mom's like, nah, my kid's perfect, and you all have the problem.
I refused, saying that if anything, he owed me an apology for wrecking everything. They left, and my family is split. Some say I was in the right, and my aunt needs to start disciplining him. But others say I should have just put him in the egg hunt to avoid drama. So am I the a-hole?
To be clear, it wasn't your freaking idea not to put him in the egg hunt, right?
She had come with the proposition that he was too old.
OP?
OP or OP's mom. They
I
mutually
thought-
discussed it.
I thought this was his mom. So I guess not.
No. So
Okay, it wasn't, because I was so confused because I thought it was Chris's
I
mom.
asked my mom,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
she suggested that.
To be fair, just to have him do the Easter egg hunt.
Not after he throws a fit and breaks everything,
Right.
but I
because
feel like a quick
yeah.
call up to your aunt, text over to Chris or someone, hey, I know you're 13 or your son's 13. Do you think he'd want to be in an egg hunt or do you think he'd want to help me hide the eggs?
Yeah, truly that's all it takes.
Side note, Chris's dad left when Chris was born and hasn't been in the picture for years. We have an update. You got anything else? Should we just dive in?
Let's freaking go.
Freaking go! First, I'm gonna clarify some things. The cutoff age for egg hunts in my family is 10 years. The eggs I was using were solid chocolate mini eggs, hollow chocolate eggs, and solid Reese's Pieces eggs. I only told him to stop and didn't do anything more because I was terrified of making my aunt mad. But she ended up being mad anyway. So we all think Chris might be on the spectrum, but my aunt says he's a perfectly normal kid and won't get him tested. My cousins and I are fine. My other aunt said they won't be coming over if Chris is there. My grandma gave Chris's mom an ultimatum to either get Chris tested or they'll be cut off and excluded from all family gatherings. My aunt refused, so they were cut off. Thanksgiving is coming up, and my mom wants to invite them. I told her not to since all they do is cause drama, and my other aunt and her kids won't come if Chris is there. But she said she can't just exclude them. Chris's mom also tried to blackmail me, saying that my siblings and other cousins are the only thing that Chris has close to siblings. I called her out on his behavior and said she needs to start being a parent and disciplining him. She told me to mind my own business and stop telling her how to parent her kid. I don't know if they're coming for Thanksgiving. My mom has her heart set on inviting them, but everyone else is saying not to. And we have another update. We'll just dive right into that one, too.
Yeah, let's get it.
My grandma found out that my mom was still planning on inviting my aunt, who we'll call Lucy, and Chris to Thanksgiving. She called my mom saying if she invited them, she and my grandpa wouldn't come. She told my other aunts and uncle, and they all agreed that if Chris and Aunt Lucy are there, they won't come. My other aunt, who we'll call Bella, called my mom saying, if you invite Lucy and Chris, we aren't coming. Chris hurt my kids and scared them. My kids don't feel comfortable or safe around him. My mom was crushed. I asked why she wanted to invite Aunt Lucy and Chris so badly. My mom said that her sister has always been difficult and that she feels guilty excluding her and Chris since his dad isn't in the picture. She feels bad that he doesn't have a dad in his life. Then my mom said she was going to secretly invite my aunt and Chris and not tell the others. No!
That's a terrible idea.
Bad idea. Go around your mom and tell them. I told my mom it was a bad idea and would cause even more drama. She said she didn't care and that if she's hosting, she gets to choose who to invite.
Yeah, and then people get to choose if they want to come or not.
Right. Yeah, you can invite whoever you want, but you need to deal with the consequences of inviting Chris and Lucy is that no one else is coming.
Or that they're going to show up and then they have to deal with they're here. Well, now everyone's leaving.
Yeah.
And that's going to feel even worse than having not been invited in the first place.
Yup.
So, god dang it. Your mom needs to sit down with her sister and have like a heart-to-heart and be like, look, your kid needs help. And I'm not saying this to put you down. I just want your kid to get the help he needs so that we can be a family again. Because this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Now I'm debating whether to tell my other relatives what my mom is planning or say nothing and pray she doesn't go through with it. My mom is really hard-headed, so I know there will be no talking her out of this. I have another update.
Me personally, I wouldn't say anything and I'd be like, this is not my mess to deal with. I'm going to let my mom take point on this and deal with all of the repercussions herself.
Depends how involved you want to be, because if you do tell them, you're involved now.
Yeah, I personally don't want anything to do with it, but yeah, I wouldn't like being ambushed, but either way,
I
this
feel
is
like
just all on your mom. Your mom needs to be the one taking point on this.
it's also going to depend on like how far are these relatives coming from, because if they're coming like states away or it's a long drive, then I might be more inclined to be like, hey, before you make the long drive out here. Other option, everyone shows up, everyone sees that Chris and Lucy are there, everyone goes somewhere else. I ended up telling my relatives what my mom was planning.
Uh-oh.
They agreed not to tell her they knew and are planning on hosting a different Thanksgiving dinner at my grandma's house, which I'm really looking forward to.
Okay.
Now, this is where things really went wrong.
Oh, no.
I thought they already went wrong, OP.
They're going wronger?
The other day, my grandma invited me, my siblings, and cousins out for a pool day. She didn't invite Chris since she cut off contact with my aunt at the end of last month. The day was fun and drama-free. The next day, however, my aunt was blowing up our phones and cussing us out. Somehow, she found out about the pool day and was livid that we didn't include Chris. I'm guessing my mom told her since she's the only one who still talks to my aunt. My aunt even called my grandma and threatened her because she didn't include Chris. This made my Aunt Bella and Uncle Greg go off on her, calling her entitled and saying it's no wonder Chris turned out the way he did. They told her she needs help and that until she gets help for her and Chris, They don't want her around. They said they'd go no contact and get a restraining order if she keeps pestering them. My Aunt Lucy then doubled down and sent everyone pictures of Chris crying, saying, "You made him so sad he cried because he wasn't included." Everyone ended up blocking her except my mom.
Yeah, it's a real scumbag move to probably, first of all, explain to Chris that he was excluded and why he was excluded, because Chris would have never known. So you
Right.
had to explain to him as his mother, and then in his emotional distress, you take a picture of it and use it to try to manipulate the other members of your family. You're a scumbag. And it really just goes to show you don't care about Chris. You care more about, I don't know, some sense of just like being involved
Right.
or being right. I don't know what you care about, but you clearly don't care about your son.
Agreed. My aunt then went off on me, saying it must have been my idea to exclude Chris and that I'm a terrible cousin. She said if I didn't exclude him from the egg hunt, none of this would have happened. I told her that all this happened because she refused to get Chris help. I said it wasn't my fault no one wanted to be around him, and that if she got him tested and the help he needs, then maybe we'd want to be around him. I told her she needs to start being a parent and disciplining him. She told me to back off and mind my own business. I ended up blocking her as well. Then my mom went off on me for being disrespectful towards her sister.
Don't worry, your mom's just got some kind of complex with her sister.
Yeah.
Disregard this entirely.
I told her I was done being treated like the bad guy and that I was tired of my aunt berating me and blaming me for everything. My mom said I better start respecting my aunt and that families stick together. I left and things have been very tense since. The rest of my family says my aunt is at fault. They're still doing the other Thanksgiving at my grandma's and won't tell my aunt or my mom because they know my mom will tell my aunt and more drama will happen. I'm so stressed right now and dreading Thanksgiving. We have another update. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't tell them. I'm assuming OP's going to grandma Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that sucks to have to be in that position of like, now you have to keep a secret from your mom
Yeah.
and your aunt and it sucks.
And your mom coming at you for that? It's just not fair. Update 4. I sat down and had a talk with my mom. I said I was tired of being treated like the bad guy and blamed for my aunt's behavior. I said it felt like she was always choosing my aunt over me, and it hurt when she blew up at me. My mom apologized for blowing up at me and forcing me to keep in contact with my aunt. She said I could block my aunt if I wanted and that her sister was out of line for yelling at me. She said she just felt guilty and stressed about everything. I asked her why she felt guilty, and she said she feels bad that Chris doesn't have a father figure in his life and that her sister isn't a very good parent. I told her I understood. I also told her I was worried that she could end up excluded from gatherings like my aunt. She said she was planning on going low contact with my aunt. I asked if she told my aunt about the pool day, and she admitted she did. She said she didn't see a problem with it and thought my aunt knew. She didn't think my aunt would go nuclear over it. She apologized again, and I forgave her. We had an intervention yesterday with my aunt. When she arrived, she wasn't happy. But my grandparents asked her to please listen. Everyone told her they were worried for Chris and his future, and that they didn't like how things had become and how far the family was being pulled apart. They also asked my aunt why she was so against getting Chris tested. She said she was worried that everyone would see him differently and that he would lose his friends.
Oh my God. Wake up and smell the roses, girl.
Right.
They already look at him differently, and he's already lost all of his cousins because of your refusal to help him.
Right. My grandma told her that it could help Chris and make things easier for both of them in the long run. My aunt thought about it, and she agreed to get him tested.
Good.
She said she was sorry for the drama Chris caused during the Easter egg hunt, and she even made Chris apologize to me and my younger cousins. My aunt also agreed that she would start being a better parent. And you should start listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime. There's a lot of episodes there for you to watch.
Better look it up. Okay, good things are happening. Like this?
Good things are happening.
Good.
I like that a lot. I'm so happy. Intervention, good.
Good.
Good. Had a little bit left. My Aunt Bella said she was proud of her for stepping up. My grandma said she was happy that everyone was getting along again. The topic of Thanksgiving came up, and my grandma said she'd host and that everyone was invited, including Aunt Lucy and Chris. Everyone is excited and looking forward to it. I'm happy my family is back to normal and there isn't any stress anymore. Everyone is glad my aunt is finally stepping up and being a parent and getting Chris the help he needs.
Yes.
That's the end of that story.
I finally met someone amazing, but my anxiety won't let me enjoy it.
Oof. Yeah, that's not good.
No.
Mm-mm.
I, 38 male, used to be way more anxious, but I've worked on myself a lot and have gotten more confident in myself. And while I still have some anxiety here and there, it's manageable. I go on a fair number of dates, like 1 or 2 a week on average, and I actually really like first dates. I have no nervousness at all. It's really fun getting to know someone new with no expectations. By the way, this comes from username 102469, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dr. Kim.
And I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do, so let us know what you would do. But today we actually have an expert. So OP says, last week I went on a first date with someone. We met on a dating app, and our conversation beforehand on the app was just okay. I was slightly nervous because she was really attractive. But when I got there, she was more nervous than I was. I don't think I'm that good looking of a person, so that was surprising. The date went really well. We had way more in common than I would have thought. She was just as attractive in person as in her pictures. We hugged goodnight, and the ending was awkward, but I thought it went well. The next day, I asked her out again. I started getting a bit more anxious. Asking someone on a second day is way more nerve-wracking for me. Now, I know this person a bit more, and I like them so far. I need to pick a place that she'll like, and I'm always nervous I'm going to be judged for what I pick, though it's never happened so far. This time, at least, I had a good idea based on our conversation. Dinner and then going to a bar with some activities that we had talked about. She pretty quickly texted back. I said in my message that I was going on a trip. She asked when I'd be back. I told her, and it took her like 90 minutes to respond. That's when my anxiety started spiraling out of control. I was hosting an event at work and could barely focus on what I needed to do, but then I got the text. She gave me some days that worked for her. I was free the first available day she gave, so I told her let's do that day and gave her my plan. Her texting's very dry. She said something to the effect of, yeah, that sounds good. See you then. And of course, my brain started telling myself that she wasn't interested, despite agreeing to a date with me literally moments earlier. I went away on my trip soon after that. It was a fun trip. I saw a bunch of close friends, and I was basically doing something every moment I wasn't asleep, which is not like me. The whole time, though, I was stressed out about texting her. Should I text her? What should I text her? Each day I didn't text, my anxiety got worse and worse. I would be having fun with my friends, and my brain would snap to, you should text her. Eventually, I sent her a picture of something funny I saw. She responded quickly, and we joked back and forth for a couple of texts. I felt better after that for a little bit, but then I started worrying again. The next text I sent was a confirmation text for the date the day before, which she responded to an hour and a half later, which again made me a bit anxious, but she confirmed, so all was well once again. I was a bit nervous for the second date, but it went really, really well. Conversation flowed the whole time, and we got to know each other better. Near the end, we had some pretty deep discussions about what we were looking for in past relationships and what we learned from them. We both seemed to be on the same page. She told me she found me really attractive and that it was refreshing to find someone who could actually hold a conversation, which was nice to hear. It was only the second date, but I was really falling for her. We kissed goodnight this time. I texted her when I got home saying I had a great time and that I hoped we could do it again soon. She said she would like to when she got back from her trip. I said let's talk more tomorrow. That whole night I could barely sleep. It was a mix of excitement and nerves. I just couldn't believe how great it went. But the anxiety started kicking in more and more. And we're going to pause there because we got a little bit more left. But any thoughts on this and OP's experience with anxiety?
Yeah, it's so interesting. So this generation is actually experiencing more social anxiety than ever. I think a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
But something we talk about a lot in therapy, which is interesting, is kind of frequency of texts when they're dating. And you have to remember that one of the reasons you're high and in limerence, right, with the person is because you're getting that intermittent reinforcement.
Yeah.
It's sort of like gambling. You don't know when you're going to get a hit because you don't know this person quite yet. You don't know if they're going to be consistent or not. So does he like me? Do they like me not?
Yeah.
That keeps you kind of high, but it also keeps you really anxious. So you already struggle with social anxiety. Now it's dually powerful and intense because you've got the social anxiety and you're liking someone and wondering, do they like me? Do they like me not?
Yeah, you're putting your heart on the line.
Right. But it can get kind of painful. You know, you're ruminating, perseverating. Do they still like me? And I'm waiting, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, a few hours for a text back.
I absolutely experienced this. I also have anxiety, and this was ringing true to me.
Yeah. But I don't know how professionals, attorneys even get anxious that way because they like them, they're high off of it, and they want that validation, and they want them to like them back. But that can get really bad with your social anxiety on top of it.
Yeah, I definitely have experienced this. And I think for me, it's just kind of like my advice for you, Opie, is you just kind of have to be like, whatever happens, happens. I mean, they might not like you, and they might say, this isn't the relationship for me, and you literally can't do anything about it, which is so scary. But after a point, like, if they do stay around, every time the anxiety gets a little less. Yeah. And you're like, oh, well, they're still here.
Exactly.
They haven't left yet.
You know what's helpful too is if it's the beginning.
In the beginning.
You're not able to pattern recognize yet. So just remember that you're just learning about their patterns, One day they might get back quickly, but it might take a few hours because we don't know their routine. Yeah. And we don't know their patterns yet. So just remember you're just learning about them at this time. You don't have to take it as rejection or perceive it that way.
Yeah, especially with texting, because everyone texts differently and stuff. And I think there is, as you said, this idea that, you were talking about people bringing up texting more. And I think there is this idea that if you don't text immediately all the time, then it is a rejection. Yeah. It's like, no.
People have lives.
They do.
Yeah. People are busy.
Other variables.
OP continues. The next day at work, I was anxious about asking for the third date, but eventually when I got home, I texted her. She responded fairly quickly, and she was actually going to be gone longer than I expected. But we made plans for the Saturday after she gets back. I was nervous again that she wouldn't like my suggestion, but she actually used an exclamation point in her text this time. So I feel like she was into it. That's cute. Like, she's excited, maybe. I'm going to be busy most days she's gone, which is good. But I'm already worrying about what or when to text her. So everything seems like it's going well, but my brain just cannot stop thinking about this all ending badly. I feel like this is too good to be true, and the rug is going to be pulled out from me at any moment. I feel like she's out with other people, which she has every right to be if that's what she wants. We've only met twice. We still barely know each other, and she's going to cut things off with me. Or that she doesn't feel like I do at all and is just being nice. By the way, it'd be nice of you guys to listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. And we've got a little bit left, and then we'll discuss. There have been 4 other people I've been really into that I met on dating apps, and 3 of them changed their pictures on their profiles before ending things with me. So I've been really trying not to look at her profile in case she does update something. But it's making me so anxious. I've really only felt this anxious with one other person. I hate that my brain is like this. I hate that all of my thoughts go to this all the time. Once I'm in a relationship, I'm fine and become way more secure. But these early days are so hard for me. I don't understand it. I see a therapist, and after a session, I feel better for a little bit. But I guess I'm bad at putting what I learn into practice because I slip right back into my anxiety. I just effing hate it. And that is the end of that story. But do you have any thoughts for OP?
Yeah, it's just, again, we're just kind of learning about the other person. And, to overthink that way, it can be like on a scale, like it can be very painful, or it can be, just kind of more neutral. But I think it's really underrated to ask the person, like, even casually, like, how often do you like your friends to text? You know? Or like within your old relationships, you can ask these questions a few dates in, like in your old relationships. Or now, what do you prefer as far as like texting communication? Yeah. Because we're not always, compatible that way, but you can find a middle ground. Mm-hmm. That, and then if you just think about texting as making a date, that can help too. Because
rather than the interim conversation.
Especially if you're the one asking out more, then you can just think about it as adding value. Because a lot of times we're just focusing on the negative, but what about adding value? Like, what could be the next adventure? Yeah. What are they into? Getting to know them on a deeper level, Yeah. But yeah, it's nice to just think about texting as making the date at first, and then, kind of getting excited about that. And that can combat some of the negativity because you're thinking about adding value to them, to you, and an experience rather than, just perseverating on what's happening in between. Because that might not matter as much in the beginning.
Yeah. And basing it on the experience of like what happens on those dates, how is the rapport when you're together? Yeah. Because I think that's a lot more important than how she texts.
Right. And a lot of times we're kind of, projecting so much onto someone. We really want to try to get to know them, being curious, being curious about each other rather than just like, okay, I like this person, they have attractiveness, and projecting a lot of things instead of asking and being curious. So yeah, getting to know them and then adding experiences that can combat a lot of the
And also
negativity.
projecting your like hopes and desires onto this
Onto
person.
them too soon.
You might not even like, you might find that you don't even mesh with
Exactly.
them. So it can go really anyway.
I like that, thinking about what's a fit for you more
Yeah.
rather than pleasing them. And that can be, more attractive for them too, because they see you have your solid identity and you don't just need that external validation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, Whitney Anderson, thank you for the $50. My husband and I had a terrible marital issue we went through, and I told him it would hurt less if he passed away because of the trauma. We worked it out and stayed together, but I think it caused PTSD in me. And do you have any thoughts about working through, like, have you ever worked with, couples?
Absolutely. I do couples therapy a lot. So Whitney, that is really hard. And that's actually a normative thought. People often feel like it would have been easier. That's it can be a fleeting thought, but it would have been easier if they would have passed away. Not that they wanted that.
Disappeared.
But if you compare the two of what we put each other through, they care so deeply about a person. And when you're, damaging or, hurting them in some way, now there's a lot of guilt and shame. And then there's also all that trauma that she's experiencing PTSD from. And so then, it does make sense that you'd have that fleeting thought. It's quite normative to have that thought. And but we just got to really think about how difficult dynamics are and try to give ourselves a little bit more lax on it, because it's hard to not react to someone. It's hard not to get too comfortable, and then your intention is that, going forward, you don't want to hurt the person. And when you know better, you do better. So it's hard, but we do a lot of damage, and not just you. This is very normative,
Yeah, I feel like when you want to hurt someone, you search for the words that do the most damage, and then you're like, sorry, I didn't mean that.
A lot of impulsivity, reactivity, and the most well-intended people. The most well-intended people, so it doesn't make you a bad person if there's been a lot of fights. It's just really about just the next day starting fresh again.
Yeah, absolutely. But we have another story. I dumped my fiance because all she wanted to do was party.
Okay. All right.
I'm 28 male, and I've been with my now fiance, 29 female, for 11 years. We were high school sweethearts. As of late, all my fiance wants to do is go to bars and drink with her new friends and coworkers, and it's really starting to bother me. By the way, this comes from Valle, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dr. Kim.
And I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, for some context, as I mentioned above, we've been together for 11 years. I was a football player in high school, so I have or had a more athletic build. She was more of a loner in high school, not trying to be harsh, just being honest. So she was more lonely. With me being an ex-football player and going to college, I got invited to parties and gatherings constantly. She's always been unsure of herself, so she really didn't want me to go to those gatherings. She insisted that I was going to find someone better than her there, so I shouldn't go. I'm more of a homebody anyway, so I didn't mind not going. Don't get me wrong, I would have liked to attend some of the gatherings, but I would rather comfort her more by not going. Fast forward to the last 2 years, and she started her new RN nursing job. We both have really good jobs and make good money. She started getting invites to hang out with friends after work. I'm not a jealous guy, so I don't care. We both work overnight, so she would go to breakfast with her coworkers in the mornings after work. Again, I wasn't worried about it. The breakfast in the morning slowly progressed to where now she's going bar hopping with her friends at night and not getting home until 3 a.m. She lost some weight in that time, so I attributed it to being more confident. We're saving for a house, planning on having kids soon, and I just proposed in December. She wanted to be married by February 2023. With all that in mind, I've been grinding my butt off to save extra money, picking up OT shifts when I can, and making lifestyle sacrifices. One day, she asked me if she could go to a bar with her coworkers for his or her birthday. Mind you, she's already been out 3 different times for coworkers' birthdays this month. I told her I didn't think it was a good idea and that she should give it a little break. She got upset with me, telling me I'm not letting her live her life the way she wants to live her life. She also said that since I would, then it shouldn't be that big of a deal. I was originally scheduled off for that day, but I picked up an OT shift. I told her that, and she got upset. Now we're broken up and trying to figure it all out. Wait, you break up? She says that I shouldn't hold her not allowing me to go to places over her head. I told her that I'm not trying to hold it over her head, but we have life goals. that requires something different than just going out all night and having a good time. I told her I'm all for her going out, but can she do it in moderation? Maybe instead of going out with friends 4 times in 1 month, she can go with them 2 times in 1 month and pick up 2 OT shifts. She said she doesn't want to do overtime on her days off like I do. She's now saying I'm too demanding, like if she wants to get tattoos all over her body,
I should allow that.
if she wants to smoke devil's lettuce and party,
I should allow that.
I told her I'm not trying to stop her from doing what she wants to do. I just won't be standing here by until she's ready to get this family life back on the road. Am I wrong here? I'm losing my crap. And there are some comments. But do you have any advice or thoughts for OP?
Yeah, you did everything right. I don't know with the timing of when you were asserting yourself and your needs, you did everything right there. Now, can it backfire? Because some people want autonomy. Then as soon as they're told they can't do something, now they want it more. Now, this person sounds like they just really get fueled up by going out and then...
It also seems like she didn't have that, prior and is now kind of making up for it.
Yeah, so it's... The time apart's nice because now you can see, is it worth it to just sacrifice and, and have her, let her live her lifestyle? But this is a thing where it's more about fit, right? But once we're attached, it's hard to kind of reverse that attachment.
They've been together for 11 years.
Right, you're already attached.
Yeah.
Now you are too attached to want to, separate just because of a lifestyle change. So you did everything right as far as asking for the compromise. Obviously, couples therapy would be nice too.
Sure.
Get it. That way you're not the one that's being like the probation officer here. We don't want that. It's really hard to have that power differential that she's rebelling against basically at this point. So could be a situation where this is less of a fit. It could be more of a turnoff later. We don't know.
Yeah. And I think also they were really young when they got together. So you change a lot, especially in college.
Yeah. But she's looking like she really wants that autonomy. So you got your answer when you kind of asked if she could compromise. And that was like a complete rebellion for you. So that's where so you could do couples therapy. You could take time apart, see if it's worth it to just sacrifice that way and have her, do her thing until she wears out on it a little bit.
And I think going into your point about fit, it seems like they're at different places in their life. Like he's ready to start a family and save up money and put in extra hours to get that, whereas she is not ready to, as you said, let go of that lifestyle. So maybe this isn't a fit anymore.
And a good question too could be do you see yourself kind of getting tired of this later on? And maybe that could give you hope too. Do you see yourself cutting down on this later? Or do you think this is going to kind of persist? Because she might even just see it as a little phase for herself. So that'd be a good question too.
Yeah.
But fit is important, but once the attachment's there, that's why you really got to see their patterns at the beginning before you get too attached.
Exactly.
Yeah, but hopefully there's enough there. Or it's just too painful because some people do go through a lot of emotional pain when the other one's going out all the time. And then you got to think about the trust factors too. So
yeah, it was interesting to me, the point about her going out too much. And then we find out that's only 4 times a month.
Which to me, it doesn't sound like a lot.
But I guess when they seemingly have a lot of work hours, so maybe they're just not spending as much time together.
Yeah.
Maybe the compromise there is also, are we spending enough time together?
Perspective can change too once you have that little bit of time apart, because if the anxiety is really high and he wants to get back, then he's going to want to, look at this differently and have more of a reframe.
Yeah.
But as long as she gets in a place where she's less defensive, he might feel a little bit more assured about the future.
Yeah. But there are some comments. Comment 1 says, you grew apart, dude. The only thing I see wrong in this relationship is that allowing the other to do something is a thing. You are deciding for different things on life right now. What can you do? What can anyone do? We all should find what makes us happy and follow that path. It just seems like your path is not together with hers anymore. It sucks. That's it. Reply says, I agree that they grew apart, but I also think that he's being a little too much, asking her not to go out 4 times a month with her friends and coworkers. That just seems like a non-issue to me. I totally get it if it was 2 to 3 times a week, but averaging once a week seems totally fine to me. Reply says, if we're playing that game, she asked for too much since she wanted the commitment and is now backing off. It isn't about the number of times that's the issue. It's the finance they both need to save for the future, and she's falling back on it. So it's neither's fault, or both had some part in this. That was kind of my thought on this. It seems like maybe OP would have had a little bit more success if he had gone from kind of standpoint of saying, I want to save money. Is there a way that, you could help pitch in for that rather than saying, I don't want you to do something?
Yes, that's true. And adding, and there's a couple things I would say there too, is that sometimes it can be more of an emotional thing where it's like they just feel like the other partner's not compensating for being gone.
Yeah.
So let's say
Which
you
is,
have,
I think, what he's saying.
She's going out on a Friday, but he knows they're going to do something that he enjoys, and it obviously doesn't have to cost a lot of money, but knows that it's something that he would enjoy. And she's emphasizing this and excited Because sometimes a lot of times it's about that, where it's like they're not compensating in other ways. They're leaving.
Jealousy.
Yeah, they're leaving. They're having fun. And then, well, where's my fun with you?
Yeah.
So if she's excited and she's enthused about whatever they're going to do that weekend, whatever part, Sunday, whatever it is, that can help a lot combat that. Then there's more closeness, and then the talks are more warm. But yeah, we definitely don't want to be in a dictator role because that they're going to kick against that power differential.
Which she's doing. Comment 2, my biggest question is how does an RN have that much time and energy to party? Reply says, my one friend who's an RN is definitely the wild one of the group. I'd assume it's a way to cope in reaction to being around so much illness in passing. Reply says, vitamin B complex shots help. Most of my Filipino relatives that are in the healthcare system have weekly vitamin shots to get that extra bit of energy to do double and triple shifts.
Yes, they do.
Whoo, what? What is this? What does it do?
It gives you more energy.
Oh, it's just an
increases
energy
energy.
thing?
Yeah.
Interesting. Edit. Thank you all for the replies. Most comments seem to agree. For the few that say, why is 4 times too much per month? It's not about the times per se. It's more about me committing to furthering our future while she only wants to go out and have fun. If she was going out an average of 8 times per month, I would ask her to go out 4 and pick up 4 OT shifts. I know she's a nurse and we both have tough, trying jobs, but drinking 2 to 4 times per week and bar hopping isn't the answer. I also forgot to mention that she's the one who was asking for more of a commitment prior to starting her new job. She told me that we had been together too long for her to not at least have a ring on her finger for a child. She wanted all this. When we were 22 to 25 years old, she would want me to have a child with her. I was uncomfortable at the time because I wanted to be settled in my career first. I grew up with a tougher lifestyle, so I wanted to make sure I could take care of my children by myself comfortably if it had come to that. And there is a next edit, but yeah, it seems like it's the same thing of OP saying that we had talked about a lifestyle, and I'm not seeing that same kind of energy reciprocated.
Yeah, it does sound like there's a shift, and that's common, right? So we change, we evolve, and we have shifts, unfortunately. And this could be just like we talked about before, a little bit of a phase. We don't know.
Yeah.
But there's some fulfillment she's getting out of that, and we just don't want the distance to be created so much where she does want to run away from the relationship, because that might be what he's experiencing.
But there is a second edit. OP says, this will be my last post. So I've decided to break up with her and get my ring back. I didn't realize that he had proposed. I spent over $15,000 on the ring. Woo! Dang. Now she's literally on her knees, begging, pleading, and asking for forgiveness. I told her that I'm over this relationship, and now all she's doing is crying. It sucks that it had to come to this for her to truly understand how I was feeling, but it is what it is. Thank you, everyone, for the advice. I'll see what happens from here. And OP says, I see a lot of people saying that I'm controlling. I'm not one to look past criticism, but I have to say I disagree. When she says, I'm not allowing her to do stuff that should have been worded better. What I mean by that is she wants to seemingly be tatted from head to toe. She wants to be out trying Molly, devil's lettuce, mushrooms, etc. because that's what her friends are doing. I'm sorry, but I would rather not have a girlfriend or fiancé with tattoos everywhere and who does hardcore drugs. In addition to that, she already has 3 big tattoos on her person now, from the top of her shoulder to her elbow type tats. I like what I like and nothing can change that. When I say allow, what I'm actually saying is she can do whatever she wants to do. However, if I don't like what she does, I have every right to leave, right? Am I wrong for not wanting her to be tattooed from head to toe and do mushrooms? By the way, I want you guys to listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. And there is a tiny bit left to the story. But do you have any responses to OP's kind of questions about that?
You know, it's just, I've definitely, anecdotally, had clients where, the partner doesn't want to give them tattoos. And it's really like an ongoing struggle. It's like the more they push back, the more they want it too.
Yeah.
And so it can become really cyclical. You can express yourself on what your preferences are, but at the same time, we have to also honor their identity and their wants and needs at this time. So,
and probably also have to decide what are deal breakers.
Exactly. And really, we kind of judge relationships by like how they make us feel about ourselves and how we feel when we're around them.
Yeah.
So really the indicator is like, how is he feeling, when she's out or when they're together? It could be that the quality is suffering that way. That's what it's kind of looking like. There's some other kind of issue there too, just other symptom. So I think that, if it's not a fit and he can detach, okay, a lot of people can't.
Yeah, especially
it
after
takes
that
a lot more
long
time.
of a relationship.
A lot of times it takes a lot more time of unwinding.
Yeah, he was like, I'm done. Yeah.
So if they can come to a compromise and there is attachment, that is ideal.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do have to kind of be careful of how much we push against someone's preferences for going out or their art,
Mhm. Yeah. No, I think I say in a lot of stories, it's you can break up or divorce or, end a relationship for any reason. Like, it's your right.
Exactly.
But also it's their right to live their life how
That's
they
right.
want. But there is a little bit left to this story. As for the people advising I should just talk to her more, this same attitude has been going on for 7 months now. I talked to her when I first began to notice the change, but nothing has changed. Today was my breaking point. I hope I addressed most concerns. And lastly, for the people saying 4 times a month is not that much. I'm not saying 4 times is too much. I'm simply saying, could she at least implement some OT in there somewhere? That way she could live her best life while also showing me that she's still working towards our life goals. And that's the end of that story. Yeah, I just think that you're right. I think this just wasn't a fit.
Yeah, I liked your comment on too. I think that compensatory piece is important. Is we compensate sometimes when we don't like something. Then how could she have compensated and made her feel better? And there could have been some room for that potentially. So.
And I think he can just take that into his next relationship.
That's right.
Yeah, and find someone, you fit a little bit more aligned with goals-wise.
Yeah, that's right.
Goals-wise. But that's the end of that story. I live full-time on a cruise and managed to save money.
I mean, that sounds like the life.
Hey, Fire Fam. I want to share a little experiment I've been doing that might sound crazy at first, but hear me out. It's been a game changer. A few months ago, I decided to give up my overpriced apartment and start living full-time on a cruise ship. Yep, you read that right. And spoiler alert, it's been cheaper than renting in a high cost of living city like Boston or New York, and honestly, way more fun. By the way, this comes from the Hungry Ninja 1809, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Mia.
And I'm Dakota, and we do have a special guest, Mia Sampson, with us here today. Mia, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Mia. I'm a financial advisor here in LA. I work with a lot of women, a lot of entrepreneurs, tech investors, people in healthcare, just really to the whole financial picture. So helping them with investing, budgeting, whole nine.
And we're here to help OP today. Let me walk you through how this all started, says OP, why I did it, and what the experience has been like. I live or used to live in Boston, where rent for a decent one-bedroom apartment is around $3,500 per month. Add in utilities, groceries, gym memberships, and entertainment, and I was easily spending $4,500 plus per month. It was a lot, especially since I'm aggressively saving for FIRE. What is that?
Financial independence, retire early. It's a big thing where people put a lot of money away so that they can retire sooner.
I thought it was like a concert or something, and they were just really aggressively saving for this
I really want to go to the FIRE concert.
I've got to go.
I want to see all of the FIRE.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. One day, I came across an article about someone who lived on a cruise ship full-time, and it got me thinking. I crunched the numbers and realized a budget or mid-tier cruise could cost me $2,000 to $4,000 per month, including housing, food, and entertainment. It sounded insane at first, but I decided to give it a shot. I started with a month-long cruise in the Caribbean to test the waters, pun intended. I booked an interior cabin on a budget-friendly cruise line for around $2,000. That price included a private cabin, way cozier than my apartment, unlimited meals from buffets to sit-down dinners, entertainment every night, live music, Broadway-style shows, poolside movies, you name it. Utilities like electricity, heating, and even basic Wi-Fi. By the end of the month, I was hooked. It wasn't just a vacation, it felt like a lifestyle upgrade. I extended my stay and have been living at sea ever since. Honestly, my first question is, who are your friends?
I mean, you make new friends every week, right?
Yeah.
The crew members.
I guess, yeah, the crew member. But do the crew members, I guess.
Do they want to be friends with you?
Yeah,
or are they forced to be friends with you?
They're like, this OP's never leaving. Yeah.
I'm not sure. And how long has this been going on for?
It seems
Few months.
a while.
A few months.
Yeah. It's better than renting because it's cheaper than my apartment. My all-in costs for a month on the cruise were $2,500, including gratuities and a few drinks. Compare that to $4,500 plus for city living, and I'm saving at least $2,000 per month. No grocery bills. Imagine eating every meal at a restaurant without ever worrying about the bill. I hate that. I don't. I like cooking.
I was gonna say sounds nice.
Yeah.
But I'm horrible at cooking. So.
Okay. Yeah. I like that part. That's my reality now. From omelets in the morning to steak dinners at night. The food is amazing and unlimited. Built-in entertainment. Forget Netflix, I get live shows, comedy acts, karaoke nights, and pool parties every day. There's no such thing as boredom on a cruise. Travel included. My home docks in new destinations every few days. So far, I've been to Mexico, Jamaica, and the Bahamas, all without paying for flights or hotels. No chores ever. I don't clean, cook, or even make my bed. The crew takes care of everything, giving me so much more free time to work on hobbies, read, or just relax. What's your job?
That's what I'm wondering.
What's your job? It has to be something that's, you're able to travel with.
I mean, you're definitely working remote in
Yeah.
this sense, but also, if you're going to all these places, are you getting off the boat or do you just have to work the whole time?
It seems like OP's getting off the boat to travel and see these places. So
Not bad.
yeah, what is your job that allows you that? I don't honestly care so much about the perks of the cruise. I just want to know what your job is.
My guess would be day trader. I'm guessing it's trading
What's
because
your-
all
do
you
have any
need
guesses?
is internet.
Could be that, but I couldn't imagine that internet would be fast enough on a cruise for day trading.
Yeah, I mean you can.
I mean,
get
depending.
internet, but like it's not. I don't know if it's gonna be the best.
Are they doing Zoom calls?
It's a good question. Just from this.
I'm like, do you know?
Yeah. Let me call. Here's a quick breakdown of my monthly costs compared to my old apartment. Rent, $3,500 on land versus $0 on a cruise. That's not true. I mean,
Like the cost of the
the
cruise.
cost is the cruise. Utilities, $200 on land versus $0 on a cruise. Groceries, $600 on land versus $0 on a cruise. Entertainment, $200 on land versus $0 on a cruise. Cruise fare, $0 on land versus $2,500 on a cruise. You're spending $200 a month on entertainment on land?
Between subscriptions, I guess. I mean,
Yes, like $10.
and it depends on what you're categorizing as
That's
entertainment too. You know, are you going to movies? Are you going to a small concert every month?
That's true. That could, yeah. Total $4,500 per month on land versus $2,500 per month on a cruise. I'm saving $24,000 per year while living a life that feels like a permanent vacation. Well, I'm happy for you. Is it for everyone? Probably not. But if you're flexible with work, I'm remote, enjoy traveling, and don't mind cozying up in a small cabin, it's worth trying. Some things to keep in mind. Wi-Fi. It's not lightning fast, but it works for emails and basic browsing. Seasickness. I've adjusted, but Dramamine is your best friend. Laundry. Some cruises have self-service laundry or full service for a fee. And there are some comments, but do you have any thoughts about OP's eccentric lifestyle?
I mean, it does sound great.
Yeah.
And even if you do it for a year, you know, you save $24,000.
And you
That's not
travel to a
bad.
bunch of places.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of situations where it couldn't work, you know, if
Yeah.
you know,
it's
you have
very
a
specific
partner.
job. Yeah.
and they're not game for doing this, or they don't have
Yeah.
a job that's conducive with it. I feel like I would end up off of the boat and not want to be working,
Yeah.
and I would somehow end up spending money at these different locations.
Exactly.
Too.
Yeah. Wanting to like explore the options and stuff.
I mean, the thing with the fire lifestyle is you're very mindful of your
Mhm.
spending, so they probably aren't doing that. But I guess I'm just thinking about it of even when I've done, you know, very budget friendly trip,
Yeah.
I always go out somewhere,
Yeah,
you know, on
yeah.
some sort of adventure.
Same. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what I traveled about like 2 years ago. I went on like a 3-month backpacking trip with friends, and yeah, and I was budgeting super hard, but even then, like there are still some nights where you're spending a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
Or just you get, you know, random expenses that you weren't expecting.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of confused about the laundry part. Not that that's a big,
I think they were
Fair.
just saying like it's not always included. That like
Okay.
you might have to pay a fee.
but
for
they do.
laundry.
But the cruise
Yes.
ship does it for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it can be expensive because I stayed at a hotel when I was actually traveling. My friend's parents had like a bunch of points for like a 5-star hotel in Rome.
Yeah.
We stayed at this really nice hotel, and it was expensive to do laundry there.
Oh,
It's
I
like per
bet.
piece of laundry,
Right.
which is crazy. So we took it to a laundromat.
And I mean, this goes back to how long you can do it for. I mean, yeah. Again, a year saving 24,000 more
Yeah.
than you would have before is a huge step. But you know, are you planning to continue this for a long time?
Yeah, I personally would. I just would miss my friends and my, yeah.
Definitely.
But it seems like OP is less attached than I think. Like a lot of people,
Right.
or some people. But it works for OP, And that's all that matters. Comment 1 says there are retirees who do this, basically live on a ship until they pass away. OP says, yeah, they're called deck dwellers. My favorite term is Margaritaville nomads.
I like
LOL.
that.
Comment 2 says, so you tried it for a month, then while on that cruise found another leaving from the same place? Or did you have to get a new embarkation location? You have not gone through the busy time, so what is your fallback if there are no cheap cruises available? What did you do with your stuff? If it's in storage, how much did that cost? Since you're working remotely, I take it the internet is okay? OP says, I'm planning to do this out of Miami since it's a major hub for budget-friendly cruise lines like Carnival, Royal Caribbean, MSC. These lines have constant sailings from Miami, so my plan is to schedule itineraries that align. When one cruise ends, I can disembark in the morning and reboard another ship that same day or shortly after. So yeah, you do lose your cruise ship friends.
Yeah. Oh, right. Because you're going on a
Yeah.
new cruise.
Yeah.
So you got to make new friends every week.
Yeah.
I guess it's not too different from backpacking
That's
where you're
true.
going place to place and
Yeah.
make friends at your new hostels.
Yeah, which is fun.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get one of them to come with you.
Exactly.
Another deck dweller. Since Miami is so busy with cruise traffic, it seems like the perfect port to make this work without much hassle. With a little planning, I think it'll be easy to keep bouncing between cruises. The internet is fine enough to do the type of work that I do. Comment 3 says, out of curiosity, what work do you do? OP says, I have a fully remote job with a very flexible schedule in sales, so I can do my calls whenever it fits my schedule, so long as I hit my targets. We have 2 weekly meetings, Monday and Friday, to check in, but those are easy to plan around. Reply says, the only time I've taken a cruise as an adult, there was a clear expectation from a large number of staff members that I'd be tipping them. This added significantly to the cost of the cruise, but it doesn't seem to be in your costs. How do you handle tipping? OP says, tipping is definitely something to consider, but it's pretty straightforward. Most cruise lines charge automatic gratuities, which are about $14 to $20 per person per day, and cover the staff who make your stay amazing. Housekeeping, dining, etc. For a month-long cruise, that adds up to around $420 to $600. While that might seem like a lot, it's already factored into my $2,500 monthly budget. Plus, when you compare it to what I was tipping on land, restaurants, delivery drivers, etc., it's not much different, just consolidated into one fee. Some lines even let you prepay gratuities, which makes it easier to plan.
I just started hearing everything OP's saying in a pirate voice.
Yeah, they've been on it so long that they
now
fully-
are
a
pirate.
They now are a pirate. Yeah.
Yar,
That's how
when
it
you compare
works.
it to tipping on land, it's relatively the same.
That's a good pirate voice.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to get some recognition.
Thank you, God. Comment 4 says, this is amazing. I did some research on this a few years back and likely read the same articles and saw the same YouTubers. But you've added a lot of extra color to this. At some point, I'm going to give it the 1 month try like you're doing. I'm going to do this, but instead of cruises, I'm going to go to a Ren fair and just live there.
I love that.
Yeah, because they have one in Texas, which is just, it's the biggest Ren fair, I think, in the world. And I'm just going to live there forever.
Does it go on for a month?
I think it goes on forever.
You'd have to become a Ren Fair influencer,
Yeah.
though.
I could.
Yeah, but then does
But
that
then-
take
but then-
away the
yeah.
fun of it? It becomes
Yeah.
your job?
Or I could just be a... I
and you
could be
live
a
in your own
worker.
prison of your own design.
No! By the way, have you looked at repositioning cruises? These cruises tend to be cheap as they are many days out at sea and they travel far. Might be a good way to potentially cut down on the expenses as well. Cut down more! You could always save more! Or are you constrained to being in a specific time zone? And we've got one more comment from OP, which I'll read. OP says, regarding time zones, good question. To keep things simple, I stick to cruises that operate in the same time zone. For example, I'll bounce between cruises that depart from the same port, like Miami or Fort Lauderdale, and focus on itineraries in the Caribbean or nearby regions. I plan the itineraries carefully so they line up. One cruise ends and the next one starts shortly after. This way, I don't have to worry about adjusting my work hours too much, and I still get to enjoy a variety of destinations without jumping between drastically different time zones. Takes a bit of planning, but it's totally manageable. And that is the end of that story that advertised living on a cruise. Do you have any thoughts about cruise living or just how to save money in a way that's not living on a cruise?
In a way that's not living on a cruise. I think one of the best ways to save money is to be aware of your budget and be aware of where you're spending the money. So I think it starts there. You know, housing expenses said in the beginning are very high, which makes sense because she was in Boston or New York or something like that.
Boston, New York,
You know, comparable to you know, how we are in LA, it's expensive, but you usually still want to keep your housing expenses, if you can, under 30% of your gross income. So your income before taxes. And going over that, it means that you have to make compromises in other parts of your budget. Yeah. And then the other part of just good savings, I guess, habits are, you know, starting with saving at the beginning of the month. So it's called pay yourself first. And rather than, you know, spending what you spend and trying to save what you have left over, it's being intentional about your savings. You know, I'm saving to buy a house in 5 years and I'm going to need a $200,000 down payment. How much do I need to save every single month to get to that? And instead making it almost like it's a bill rather than being an afterthought.
Yeah. Great answers. So you don't have to live on a cruise.
No.
You could, there are other ways.
But it might be for you.
But you might
be a
want to.
Margaritaville nomad.
Yeah.
That might be your lifestyle.
That might be your calling, your vocation. But we do have another story coming up.
Yes, we do.
My friend group was ruined over a card game, and now I'm the villain.
And that's just how card games go.
There are 3 friends involved, plus me. Jack, 27, Nate, 24, and my roommate, 52.
Whoa.
That's okay.
I'm 23.
Okay.
We all like to hang out at my roommate and I's house and play Magic the Gathering. By the way, this comes from Romantic Sunset, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Sophia.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, after some very rude comments were made by Jack during one game, I went to text him how I felt. I'd given him all the grace in the world and shown him extreme kindness, and I wasn't pointing fingers or blaming him in any way, but he called me names and yelled at me. Both my roommate and Nate agreed that Jack was being mean to me that night. I showed my roommate the text because they directly mentioned him, but I left Nate out of it because I didn't want any mutual friendships to be broken. Just because Jack and I couldn't be friends doesn't mean the whole friend group had to split. We were all independently friends before coming together for Magic the Gathering. I feel like it's disrespectful to involve mutual friends in a fight because it burns more bridges than it needs to. Even though I felt like, and others agreed, that Jack's behavior has been slightly dismissive, gaslighty, defensive, and accusatory, that isn't Nate's battle to choose sides over. Anyway, my roommate kept inviting everyone to play Magic, and because of the words Jack used, I didn't feel safe to play with him anymore. I told my roommate and Nate that I didn't feel safe to play with him. After about 3 games of my roommate inviting Nate and Jack over through group text, I asked if we could plan a time that me, my roommate, and Nate could play together so that I could play too. My roommate was chill with it, so I asked Nate. Nate said he didn't want to get in the middle of it. I was honest about my feelings, but not in an accusatory way, and said basically that by playing with Jack alone, but not wanting to play with me alone, you kind of are unintentionally taking sides.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're not getting in the middle of it if you're just doing a separate game.
Yeah.
I don't know what the issue is here.
Even though I didn't agree with him, I didn't want to make him uncomfortable. So as a compromise, I suggested that Nate and I could go to dedicated shops to play with strangers so we could still play the game together, or that Nate and I could play alone at his house with or without my roommate or Jack. I thought that was the end of it. My roommate invited Nate and Jack back, so I decided I was going to watch a show all night upstairs. Apparently, my roommate double-crossed Nate twice in a couple of games, and Nate got extremely mad because shady politics is just a staple in our group on all sides. Except for me, I've never broken a deal. My roommate said that if Jack wasn't there, he would never win because of how often Jack helps him and babysits him. Nate got even more mad and explained that he didn't want to get in the middle of it by playing with me and my roommate, but without Jack. Some other stuff happened, and my roommate, also being mad, said that they were both terrible people. He apologized and said that was too harsh, but then said that what he meant was that they were bad friends, and that by playing with Jack and not me alone, Nate was already choosing sides. Nate stormed off and said he was never coming over again, nor was he coming to any parties we had planned. I never told my roommate to say this, and I've never said anything to Nate, Jack, or my roommate about being good or bad friends. From my questioning of my roommate's point of view of the story, he said he never said something that would make it seem like he said, OP said you were bad friends, or anything like that, but I don't know because I wasn't there. I said to my roommate that I didn't want him speaking for me, but that he was free to speak his mind about something he's passionate about, as long as he's not trying to justify it by just defending me or whatever. My roommate is my mom's boyfriend.
What?
So 52.
What? That makes even less sense to me now. Your roommate is your mom's boyfriend?
Why doesn't he stay with your mom?
I don't understand.
There's a lot of questions here.
So I made it clear that I didn't want to be defended just because I'm the daughter of his girlfriend.
Why do you
OP's
live
a
together?
female?
Yeah.
And he agreed, and he said everything from his heart and observations. I left Nate a text asking if he was okay. Nothing. The next day I sent another text. Nothing. The next day I called, not just because of the fight, but also because I got a new job and wanted to talk about some good stuff I had done in the past couple of days. Nothing. To be honest, I feel pretty offended that he would not talk to me. I think in combination with Jack probably talking about me to him, my roommate being connected to my mom has probably made it seem like I was the one saying he was a bad friend, which I have never done. But to connect a completely separate individual to another and cut my friendship off over something that I didn't do nor say is insane to me. If he's processing things and doesn't want to talk to anyone, then fine. But this man is going out of his way to tiptoe around me specifically, and it's not cute. Today I was playing Pokemon Go and opened up some week-old gifts from friends and then sent some of my own to Nate and Jack since they gave me some a long time ago. This man was online and then turned his profile to offline manually because he saw that I was also online. I know because it said he caught a Pokemon today, and then after it was off, it said he caught that same Pokemon yesterday. If you guys know of another reason why this could happen in Pokemon Go, let me know.
The fact that we're this deep of
Yeah,
layers to that, like, oh man, I'm going offline from Pokemon Go.
Could he maybe not have just stopped playing it?
Sounds stupid.
Yeah.
I feel like that is a bad friendship. I wish him the best of luck if he's just trying to process things, but if I have in fact been ghosted, then if he ever contacts me again, would I be the a-hole for calling him a bad friend? Not for everything beforehand, but for ignoring me because my roommate, who's my mom's boyfriend, pissed him off and made him angry. I plan on waiting another 6 days for him to reach out to me because I've already reached out 3 times. If he doesn't reach out to me in 6 days, then the next time he does reach out to me, I plan on calling him a bad friend who runs away from problems at the expense of others' friendship. That being a good friend means communicating and leveling up your communications and interpersonal skills so that you can keep friendships. That by being a bad friend, you give in to your delusions and make assumptions about other people because it's more comfortable for you to lose friendships and demonize other people than to sit down and talk about your feelings or communicate. That I don't feel like my friendship means a whole lot to him if he would rather be comfortable in his lack of communication and without a friend rather than be uncomfortable communicating but having a friend by their side. I agree, this is all just really silly for their age, really, really silly, but I'm trying to reread my messages and everything to see what I could have done differently to handle each situation. Maybe I could have let Nate see the texts Jack sent to me that were so nasty, but still, either way, I'd be the bad guy. I'd either let Nate see the texts and then it's not an A-B fight anymore, or I don't and have a big chance, like right now, that he takes Jack's side because Jack is very gaslighty and Nate stops talking to me. Or another one is maybe I should have just played with them, but I really, really don't feel comfortable playing with Jack. I think that if I have a boundary, sometimes I just need to honor that boundary within reason. And I told all 3 of them I was fine with them coming over and playing without me. I'm kind of just in shock about it, which sounds silly because they've ghosted me before. I had thought to myself the times they have that maybe I could have handled something better, or I probably shouldn't have said this thing. I got therapy and was so proud to have them re-enter my life again with the new me. It just makes me feel some type of way. Maybe powerless, maybe bitter, I don't know. But doing everything right this time, not letting my ego yell back, not being petty and spilling my business to mutual parties unless it's necessary, using all the therapy speak techniques so I have productive, constructive conversations in the world didn't change anything.
I think the main issue here is that OP's like, you know what, I had friend troubles with these people before, and so I worked on myself, and then I came back and realized that actually nothing that I did can fix the friend troubles because they're just not good friends. And I think that's just the main, we need to boil it down to they're just not good friends. Nothing you can do is going to change that. You're not the a-hole for calling them out, but let's just move on from these friends.
Oh boy, the 52-year-old doesn't see eye to eye with
well,
the
no,
20...
it wasn't. The 52-year-old's chill.
Yeah, it's Jack. That's not.
Oh, it's Jack.
Oh,
I'm just so lost.
It's Jack and Nate. But the 52-year-old, I guess, is chill. OP's mom's boyfriend is chill.
OP's mom's boyfriend / OP's roommate is
And
chill.
also, I think that if you are not going to be friends with these people, I feel like you can absolutely talk to your mom's boyfriend and be like, hey, can you guys not do it at my place if I'm not going to be playing with you guys?
Right, which OP previously said, hey, it's fine if you want to keep
Yeah,
playing here. So I
let's
feel
not
like
do
you need to
that.
just say what you want.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused because of how it's just going on.
Yeah.
Maybe just a little extra too much fluff, I think.
A little bit. Yeah, Pinky DeSlayer says, yeah, OP is so overpopulating this with therapy speak.
Yeah. There is more. Simply having one boundary crumbled the entire foundation of a friendship or two. I know that I can find new friends, but I don't want to. I just want them to be the exact person, but the more mature future version with a developed EQ. And I said that the last time we had fights and broke up too.
You can't change people.
You can't change people. Yeah.
They can change. But
They
you
can change
can't
for the better.
them.
They can change for the worse. It's up to them to change. You can't
You
change
changed
them.
yourself, and that's all you can do.
The fact that you're like, I don't want to make new friends. I want the old friends or the new friends that are, more developed
I want
like
the better
me.
old friends.
Yeah, it's just like that's not how life works.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You
Sorry.
either make new friends or your friends change or you revert back to your ways. It's not going to be the same. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But this time, and for a while, I could really have conversations with them where I told them basically, wow, did you get therapy? You just seem actually thoughtful or something like that. I can't stop rereading the text after Jack and I stopped talking for 8 months and then rekindled our friendship. Someone once said that self-absorbed people act nice for a while and then slowly take off their mask to see what they can get away with. And it was so nice in the beginning. It really was. And then he'd start to sprinkle some offbeat comments every now and again. Nothing obviously mean. Stuff like, think of how pretty you could be if you just dressed for someone and act like you cared.
Yikes.
And I do feel shame for not doing all I could to be put together. I like sweatpants and no makeup and double XL shirts. And I don't like that I like this, but the change is more uncomfortable. Or one time he said that I don't like to use my brain and I should look for a job where I can just go on autopilot like being a cashier. He always knows exactly where to hit me, where he knows that I'll, by technicalities, agree with him, even though it's obviously cruel and meant to make me beneath him. I think part of me is in denial that he probably is a self-absorbed person. I'm not just saying he's a knucklehead or selfish. I actually think he has it in particular. I just don't know that he has it, but every time I watch another YouTube video, they describe the exact things he's doing. And I'm not sure if I'm going down a delusional rabbit hole or if I'm seeing him clearly for the first time ever. I just want him to go back to the beginning. Nate too, so they can be nice to me as I am to them. I just want my friends back. I'm not the type of person who can fill friends with other friends. Every friend has a special place in my heart that cannot be replaced with another. I feel love extremely deeply, as if my heart is being ripped out or I have a hole that I keep trying to fill back up. I admit that I have a habit of having favorites. I like to try new things on the menu, but I'll always run back to my favorites. I like to try new video games once every 2 years, but my entire childhood was basically replaying the same 5 or 6 games over and over. By the way, you can listen to full episodes over and over and over with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime. We have just a little bit more, but
Yeah. I don't know. I think you just have to maybe go to therapy again and say, yeah, like I have this attachment to my friends and I really want them around, but they suck, so I gotta let them go. You gotta release them into the wild
Release
like a
your
Pokemon.
inhibition. Yeah, I think this is friendship's over.
Yeah.
You sound like you don't enjoy having most conversations with them anyway, because you already think that they need to be using their brain more
Yeah,
and be
you're
more
like, they're not
thoughtful."
using the therapy speak that I learned.
Right. And they're just not nice.
Yeah.
However true you think it is that you're not dressing to impress, like, no, that's what you're comfortable with. That's what
Yeah.
you're gonna feel the best in. That's how you should
absolutely.
be. I love what I fall in love with extremely deeply, and that includes these two friends. I have a couple more friends, but they just don't compare to these two. That's why I came back so many other times we'd have fights. I wonder if I'll ever meet someone else to fall in love with their friendship again. A lot of people like or love me, but I fall for next to no one, in friendship and in love. But this is just talking about friendship, and that is the end of that story.
My fiance accused me of taking advantage of him financially when I'm really struggling.
You're not even taking advantage very well.
Backstory. I, 29 female, have been with my fiance, 33 male, for 5 years, and he has always had an issue with my finances. We've lived together for 4 years and are set to get married next summer. He does well for himself, makes decent money. He owns a 2012 Harley, a new 2013 truck, and bought our house about a year and a half ago. I am genuinely proud of him. He works hard and deserves everything he has. By the way, this comes from a deleted user, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Sophia.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give you a little bit of good advice, goofily. We don't have all the answers. We only know what we do, so if you do something different, let us know in the comments. And OP says, I've struggled with financial irresponsibility in the past, but I have changed. The only thing I really spend money on for myself is ciggies. Oh, little ciggies.
Tisk tisk, OP.
Yes, it's nasty. It's an expensive habit, I know, but it's my only indulgence, and it helps me cope. Wrong!
You have
been
You're tricking yourself.
brainwashed by big tobacco.
Yeah, it doesn't help you cope. You would be able to cope without it. You just have to get through
What
that.
it actually does is it makes your coping skills
Worse.
decrease.
Yeah,
And so
'cause you're
that
reliant.
you need the thing to help you cope, which makes you feel like it makes you cope better. But
Yeah.
really, it's already reduced your baseline coping ability.
Yep. Yep. I have no further additions.
Now I'm fighting a new battle. The Battle of Helm's Deep. I decided to go back to school a few years ago to better myself and hopefully get a job that pays well enough to support our future. After a couple of years of taking classes part-time and getting nowhere, I finally enrolled full-time. I was bartending, but I had to quit after the place I worked at screwed up my schedule. Between full-time school and a part-time job, I could not make it work, and they wouldn't accommodate me, so I left. This semester is especially tough. On top of classes, I have field work outside of school. I still have a part-time job making $11 an hour, but with recent management changes, my hours were cut drastically. I cannot pay my bills. Lately, I have been seriously depressed. I cannot sleep. My stomach is in knots. I am constantly worried, having panic attacks. The gym has been the only thing helping me cope, but I'm going to have to cancel that soon, too. I don't even know how I'm going to afford gas for school or work next month. I have not paid my car taxes all year.
Oh my
Creditors
gosh.
are calling, mostly for medical bills from surgery last year and one credit card.
Now, okay, I hate running, but it is free. So if, like, you know, you want to exercise, and because exercising every day is important,
Yeah,
makes you feel good.
it's free, but you pay for it with your knees.
Push-ups.
Yeah, I personally hate
sit-ups.
running. I don't run. I walk or I hike. So you could also do that. But those are both free forms if that's like an issue.
My fiancé accuses me of taking advantage of him. He tells me I have nothing to worry about because he's here, but it doesn't come from a place of support. It feels more resentful. I do everything I can at home, cleaning, laundry, all of it, but I cannot afford groceries, so we rarely have food in the house. Even when I have time to cook, there's nothing to cook. I have been applying to other jobs, but no one has called me back. The silence just increases my anxiety and makes me feel even more defeated. Changing jobs would be stressful. Staying where I am is stressful, and I have a tendency to overextend myself. My fiancé does not help. He gets meaner the more stressed I get, and he says really hurtful things. Right now, I just feel worthless, helpless. I don't know how we're going to make it through. I'm sorry for the novel, but I guess my question is this normal in a relationship with financial difficulties? Am I really taking advantage of him like he says? What more can I do? Any serious advice on how to fix this? And there are comments.
If your partner right now, before you got married, is telling you that you are taking financial advantage of him while you are actively unable to even buy food, doesn't seem like you are really taking any of his finances, and is also just being awful and mean to you, probably not a person we want to get married to. Because when you're married, you're supposed to, usually, split in finances.
I mean, it really feels like it's like, well, yeah, if you don't have to worry, I have it taken care of. And then it comes from that place of like, well, yeah, because I'm the man, I have to. It's like, that's what it's expected. But it's like, no, he just doesn't want to have a productive conversation or context. He just wants to have a context where it's like, see, I do everything around here, and I pull my weight. And it's like, not even, buddy. You guys can't afford food.
Yeah,
so you're going to have to sit down and figure out how to make it work, you know? What are you? Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah. If she's taking financial advantage of you and can't eat, you're not really making a lot of money, bud.
Comments. Marriage is supposed to be a partnership, and the engagement period is like a trial run for that partnership. Since something like planning a wedding together is among one of the more stressful experiences a couple faces. I'm not reading much that leads me to think you two are in a partnership. I mean, you're going to school full-time in hopes of securing a degree that will exponentially increase your earning potential post-graduation. You will both benefit from that, so it seems to me that he could be more supportive, with a little less of the begrudging part and a lot less of the meanness. I just really see the absence of any true sense of partnership in what you have written, and I find that worrisome in a couple planning to be married. My husband and I have both faced layoffs and the ensuing periods of unemployment in the last 15 years. He was laid off for 23 months right after 9/11 because his industry tanked. But we are partners, so any bills were our bills, any expenses were our expenses, and any income was our income. Would you turn into a petty tyrant if he were laid off? Probably not. So why is it acceptable for him to act that way? I agree with another user who has a great name, by the way, Nefarious Mango. You two need couples counseling. You guys have to work these issues out before you get married. Otherwise, you're going to be here posting about how you're considering divorcing your new husband. Another comment replies, you sound like you're working hard and have fallen on tough times. I would be really surprised if my financially stable boyfriend of 5 years was freaking out like this. You're obviously trying to fix the situation. How much more school do you have left? I hope he stops being selfish and gives you a little respect and support while you get back on your feet. I would understand his position if you had squandered your money on substances or gambling and had no interest in a job or school, but that is clearly not the case. This guy sounds like a real jerkaroni. Hope he says, no substances or gambling for me. I barely even drink. I have 3 years of school left, and then I will be able to get a job as a math teacher, which are in high demand in my area. And we do have an update.
Let's just get into it. I want to see if there's any change, or if this is just heading towards a cliff.
I am so lost. I'm wondering if I should stay or if I go. Here's what's going on. I got a job bartending on weekends, 45 minutes from home. It is a bar I used to work at, and honestly, I'm pretty happy to be back. The only downside is the long drive, especially at 3 in the morning. I've been there for maybe 5 weeks now. It is a huge shift in income since I work Friday and Saturday nights. I have never made this much money in so little time. I finally feel like things are turning around. I started to feel really good. I am so close to catching up on my bills and medical debt and taxes, etc. I figured my fiancé would be proud of me and happy that I'm getting my life in order. I want to enter this marriage debt-free, and I thought he would appreciate that. Today's my first day off in a long time. Being a full-time student and working 2 jobs is exhausting. I was planning to do a little birthday shopping for him and then get groceries. The house, his house, has been reminding me of that a lot lately, which, yes, he bought it, but it still hurts. It was already clean. I had already stayed up until 2 a.m. the other night scrubbing it. I was planning to cook him dinner and maybe finally enjoy some quality time. It's like I never see him anymore. And then this happened. He's been acting really resentful. Today I told him how much I made this weekend, thinking he would be proud. Instead, he lost it.
Yeah, this isn't a relationship that can continue.
And it's time to break up.
Break up. Yeah, if he's acting mean when you're financially not stable, and he's acting mean when you are, then there's nothing to this relationship.
Time to break up. Full on rage when I said the money was going towards my debt and a little into my personal savings just so I would have some emergency money. I had nothing before this. I did not think that was unreasonable. Please tell me if it is.
It's
not.
not.
We had talked about this when I started the job again. I told him I just needed 2 months to catch up and then I would start contributing again. But he screamed at me about how I take advantage of him, how I will never pay bills again, how I don't appreciate him. He accused me of not respecting him or caring about his feelings, and he told me to get out of his house. I think this guy honestly just sounds like he sees down the pipeline that you're going to finish your degree and end up with a job in a field that probably makes more money than him, and he's getting preemptively insecure.
Yeah, well, he's
about
trying.
it.
I think he's trying to get you to feel like you are indebted to him, even though he's not really supporting you in any way.
Yeah, unbelievable. Edit. Would you consider this emotional or verbal abuse? Yeah!
Yep.
Already, I'm saying yes.
Yep.
He got me so worked up, and then he mocked me for crying and having panic attacks.
Yep.
I ended up screaming just to release the frustration, and he would not let me speak, and when I finally did, he completely disregarded everything I said and kept ranting. Then he called me crazy and said he would call the police to take me out of his house. And by the way, you can listen to full episodes of stories like this on your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime. We have a little bit more story left. You gotta leave. It's beyond time to leave. Your life will be better. So much better. You know, maybe
a whole lot better.
Talk to some of your coworkers at the bar, see if anybody knows anyone who's looking for a roommate, a quick place that you can go to, a couch to crash on in the interim. But yeah, get out of his house.
Please leave.
Get out. I'm seriously freaking out. I've been having hardcore panic attacks and I'm shaking so bad I can't even get out of bed. I don't know what's wrong with me lately. I think this relationship. But I've been getting intense urges to hurt myself. I don't want to, but after he left for work, okay, I'm just skipping over that. He told me to leave and I don't have the energy to move. I'm not ready to give up on us. No. There is no us.
You are. There is no us. When you are getting these urges, when you are feeling this way, when you're feeling depressed being with him, when you were doing so well in other areas, finally. Like you had this whole period where you weren't doing well, feeling out awful, and now you're back up. He's made you feel awful. Leave him. He's the only element of your life that's making you feel awful.
Yeah. He told me to leave. I don't have the energy to move, and I'm not ready to give up on us. When things are good, they're really good. Is this my fault? Should I leave?
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
Leave.
And you should leave.
Leave. He's making you feel awful about yourself when you are doing well.
And that is the end of that story.
My wife lied to me for years, and now I understand why.
What'd she lie about?
And we have a trigger warning for mentions of abuse. I, 37 male, found out that my partner, 28 female, of 6 years, has been lying to me about everything about herself, including her parents passing. Our son was 7 months old when the lies came out. Otherwise, the decision would have been easier. He's 16 months now. My head and heart are broken. By the way, this comes from Compulsive Liar Broken, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Carly's boyfriend, Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, I love this girl so much, but the sheer volume of lies has absolutely broken me. Driving. She said she drove a company car but couldn't drive for personal use. When she moved in with me, she got a new job and walked to work as it was close. So she said she didn't need a personal car anyway. Truth is, she can't drive. Her education. She said she got all A stars in her A levels and was in the local paper for this achievement, the highest possible in the UK. Truth is, she has average grades, not that this would ever matter. Her job. She said she was a financial analyst. Truth is, she's a customer advisor, again, not that this would ever matter. Accepted to dentistry. She knew this was my profession, so I think she was trying to build a connection. She wasn't accepted. She didn't even apply or want to do it. She actually lied to mirror my interests a lot. Her parents passing. She said her parents passed away in a car accident when she was 11. Truth is, her mom passed away when she was 14, and her dad recently passed away. Brother. I have literally no idea. she has a brother. There were countless other little lies. Things like pretending to win awards at work or saying she bumped into her ex and he asked to sleep with her. Whenever I would question her if things didn't add up, she would gaslight me and continue to lie. I feel stupid for not figuring this out sooner, but she was just so convincing. I feel so betrayed, as we have spent years having conversations about stuff that was never true. I feel like I don't really know who she is anymore, and that I fell in love with a fantasy. She also lived a couple hours away from me, and whenever I suggested going to visit her, she would say she's working closer to me that weekend, so there's no point. This never really added up, as it literally took years until I went to her hometown. I just had to turn up one day to surprise her, as she was always making excuses. She was obviously trying to keep me away from her town in case any of her lies came out. She used to say she's had that much trauma with her parents' car crash in her hometown that she would prefer to visit me. So it was always a sensitive topic to bring up as well. I randomly found out the truth because I was looking in the loft for some old stuff and stumbled across her actual educational certificates. This opened up the can of worms. However, she did keep lying, and it was only until I messaged her sister that her sister told me everything. When I confronted my partner, she again continued to lie, but then eventually told the truth. I spoke with her oldest sister alone, and I'm pretty sure all the truth is out now. She has 3 older half-sisters, same mom, different dad. They initially lived with my partner growing up, but left when my partner's dad moved into their home. Her sister told me stories of how my partner's dad would be throwing plates, axes, glasses all around the house, so the sisters all moved out to live with either their own dad or to leave the country entirely.
I like how it went from plates, axes, and then glasses.
I know her sister wasn't lying, as I called her first before confronting my partner about the lies. Her sister told me stuff that I had not even suspected. She was so worried for my partner that she wanted to get all the truth out, as she had no idea how bad my partner's lying had become. Her sister invited me to her home to show me photos and explain what had happened to them as kids. She even told me how their mom used to pick on my partner for her lying, even singing this song to her about lying, and also had a nickname for her about being a liar. Basically, she has had a terribly awful upbringing, and she's lied so much in order to try and cover up this past. She also said she never felt good enough for me, so she wanted to impress me. When the mom passed away when my partner was 14, the kids were put with the aunt who was also treating them badly. As soon as my partner was old enough to get a job and move out, she did. She was 17. Her brother then went back to the dad as he wanted a parental figure in his life. This is why my partner never mentioned the brother, as she didn't want me to find out about the dad. So basically, there was a tremendous amount of childhood trauma, which has caused her to have a lot of issues, resulting in her being a compulsive liar. Her sister said she always lied, but they were always little lies, not big ones like these. She said she lied as she felt ashamed of what happened to her. She was embarrassed to tell me, and she never felt good enough for me. She's such an amazing, sweet person, and we just always got on so well, but I'm just finding it so difficult as we've spent so many years together, having so many deep conversations, and none of it was real. Obviously, the trust has been completely demolished, and my head is all over the place with the situation I find myself in. I have been very lucky with my life. I have a great family, a large group of close friends. I've been very fortunate with my career and education as well. So maybe this intimidated my partner and made her feel like she needed to hide the truth even more. I'd hope that I'm not doing anything to make her feel like she has to lie. I've never had this problem with any other relationships. My partner is absolutely stunning, but she does often say how she doesn't feel good enough for me. This definitely stems from insecurities, as she is gorgeous and I often compliment her. But if your own parents don't love you, I suppose she struggles to accept love, praise, or to feel good enough for people. My partner has started therapy and wants to get better, but I'm unsure if too much damage has been done. In a weird way, if I try to reframe what happened as my partner trying to protect and impress me, then it doesn't feel as bad. But other days, I just feel so lost, confused, and betrayed. I stayed in a separate room for a few months just to let the dust settle. I spoke with my family and close friends, and they pretty much all said I'd regret it if I didn't at least give it another try, as everyone always says how amazing, kind, and nice she is. This is what I'm currently doing. I think the sobering fact is that we all pretty much know that if we didn't have a son together, then I would have just left the relationship, as too much damage has been done, especially to the trust. My partner initially went for individual therapy, however, they quickly recommended couples therapy. We have done couples therapy for a few months now together, And as part of that, they also have a few individual sessions with us and then go back to the couples. The couples therapist has suggested that my partner should apply back for individual therapy in a couple of months, as she feels this is significantly more important at this stage. She has so many good qualities as well as her obvious flaws, but I kind of just feel trapped now in a situation that was never allowed to consciously decide for myself. I feel like I've had the opportunity to make an informed decision on my own life stolen from me, and it's really difficult to come to terms with. It's almost been a year now, but there's literally not been one day where my mind isn't racing about all the lies she's so effortlessly told. It's the gaslighting that really hits hard, because there were so many times where I'd question things that didn't add up, but she just kept lying and lying until I gave up questioning. The thought of my partner and my son being in a home, possibly struggling without me, is heartbreaking. Or me dropping him off and knowing I won't see him again for a few days. It just makes me so sad. I would never just leave my son, though. She definitely isn't well from all of the trauma. Having said that, she is honestly a fantastic mother. And I would think you guys were really fantastic if you went and listened to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OP Storytime. Any final thoughts?
Ooh,
Thoughts about this all?
That is a lot to consume right there. I think this is something you go in day out, OP. You're doing the therapy, you're doing couples therapy. It's just you ride this wave. You know, there's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days. I know it's going to be, I think you probably made that very clear. It's going to be very hard to build that trust back up, and it's going to be running through your brain. Like, you take everything she says with a grain of salt now of like, is that true? It does suck. Well, you found out the truth, again, where this stemmed from. Again, she had a very rough childhood, and that definitely comes from that. It's something that you can't just, in a week, yeah, that looks good, or in a month, it looks going to look good. It's going to be a day in, day out thing until that either A, your trust is completely back up with her, and that's great, or B, you're just, you live it and you just see how it goes day in, day out, and it sucks. But it seems like, especially for you, I know it's very hard. I'm trying to put myself in your shoes and trying to understand, because could I imagine if you just lied to me about pretty much everything, and you're like, and the fact is, she never came. It was a snowball. It was a snowball rolling down the hill, rolling down the mountain. That just little lies here, little lies there. It's just little snowballs that turned into a giant avalanche. And she got caught. She didn't tell you the truth. So I don't know. What would you do if you caught me lying to you about everything?
I don't know. Like I said earlier, it's very situational. Like, I would need to know why. I would need to know, like, how much. I would need to know, like, what factors it would change kind of going forward kind of thing. Because it's a lot to be given all at once and to find out.
Yeah, especially over the years, and you share a child. I think it's just communicate everything clearly. Is like, some days hey, I can't trust you, or hey, was that true? I think it's just an honest situation. You just can't live that, that life where you're just always uncertain, but that's just the fact of the matter. Just keep doing your therapy. I'm happy that you are giving her another chance. If she continued to lie, then it would be very shaky, but if she's trying to really work on it and change how her mind and how her brain works, it's not going to, change overnight. This was years of trauma, and why she kept lying, and why she is a compulsive liar. So I know you're trying to understand, and you're working on it with her, and she's working on it. So that's at least positive. But yeah, you just ride that wave. You can't force it.
She loves her son so much, and honestly never feel like she'd do any harm to him. He is her world. She looks after him so well, and I think because of her own upbringing, it's made her want to ensure he doesn't experience anything like what she did. I do worry about her lying to him as well. She has said that she's actively trying to stop her lies, so I suppose time will tell. We're not married, by the way. We live together in my home that I own outright, and we have a child, but no marriage or mortgage. Any advice is greatly appreciated, and that is the end of that story.
My husband lent my savings to his stepfather, and now I have nothing.
Well, it doesn't sound like a loan. That sounds like he gave it away.
In June 2024, I married a wonderful man, and we started our life together, full of love and plans for the future. I got pregnant very quickly, and when we found out, we were overjoyed, but also nervous because our plan had been to both work, save enough money, and then have our babies. By the way, this comes from HorrorFan1187, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do. Let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, everything happened sooner than expected, but we were still excited and hopeful about this new chapter together. My husband's stepfather asked to borrow almost $20,000. My husband has a hard time saying no, and his stepfather begged and begged until my husband agreed. Not your husband anymore. That money came from my own work. I skipped parties, did double and triple shifts, canceled outings, and saved every coin. I worked tirelessly to gather it, sometimes even skipping meals and sleeping only 2 or 3 hours a night. My husband promised he would pay me back quickly, that his stepfather was a good man, and I trusted him blindly. By December 2024, his stepfather asked to move in with us. We supported him all through December, January, and February because he didn't want to pay rent, utilities, or his own expenses. He also had no intention of paying me back. I legitimately divorce. Divorce.
No intention of paying you back.
Yeah.
Is crazy.
I'm divorcing. You should divorce your husband.
Oh, babe, what's $20K amongst married
He's
folk?
just borrowing it.
Our financial situation got worse and worse. Our savings ran out and we started to go hungry. Little by little, we managed to get by, but I needed him to take care of himself so that whatever little money we had left could go entirely to the two of us.
Question, can you eat your uncle?
Your uncle is useless. Your uncle is useless. He got angry when we asked him to pay his share and said he would help a little, but he would not pay everything he owed. I started to feel extremely uncomfortable, especially because right in front of me, he would talk with his wife about buying more materials for the construction of their house and paying the workers. It made my blood boil. We barely had money for food. He would not pay his share of rent or utilities, and on top of that, he was using his money to build his house. Every day, my anger grew because that money was mine. I should not have been living in misery. Because I lent it to him, now my home was suffering, and instead of paying me back, he was building his house and spending freely. We could not afford maternity clothes or care products, and sometimes we barely had enough for soap and shampoo, while he spent on his projects and his life. He also tried to influence my husband by telling him that the man rules the house and that I needed to be submissive. My husband started to believe him. Your husband already believed him. He took $20,000.
You're both broke. And the guy who took your money is telling him, yeah, she just needs to be quiet. And he's like, yeah, you're
right. Why
right.
haven't we divorced your husband? But I threatened to leave, and he understood he should not listen to him. When it was time to give birth, I had to have an emergency C-section because my baby was too big to be born naturally. Because of that, I could not produce milk, and we did not have money to buy formula. We had almost nothing for the baby and only a few clothes. The first week after delivery, we did not even have food to eat. Some members of the church gave us food, and a friend donated a little milk so I could feed my baby. Meanwhile, his stepfather bought food for himself in abundance the entire time. You might be wondering if my husband worked. Yes, but maybe that is what hurt me the most. My husband is a subcontractor, and the contractor who hired him kept lying and saying he would pay next week. Your husband needs to grow a backbone.
It's also the type of gluttony they talk about in the Bible. That's
Literally, your
crazy.
husband needs to grow a backbone and stand up to his stepfather, demand that $20,000 back, demand that he gets paid because your child should not be going hungry.
Neither should you.
Neither should OP, but especially
No one should
right
be going
now,
hungry. Maybe your husband.
Yeah.
But this is insane.
Yeah, if anyone should be hungry, it should be that idiot.
Yeah. Weeks went by without pay. Sometimes we survived on $100 or $200 a week, using part for the house and part for work expenses, always with the promise of being paid later. The debt now exceeds $50,000, and he's simply not going to pay. After giving birth, I didn't even have basic personal care products like sanitary pads or things for treating my incision. If I didn't even have food, I obviously did not have anything else. On top of all the financial hardship, his stepfather kept influencing my husband and trying to teach him how to run our home. The thing is, OP, it feels like she is blaming everything that her husband does, as just the stepfather's influence.
Yeah.
When in reality, your husband is doing that.
Yeah.
Your husband is treating you that way. Your husband took $20,000 from you. Your husband's allowing his stepfather to be in your life.
Your husband's lousy.
That is your husband, not your stepfather. It's your husband.
Louse kind of guy.
Sometimes he said he felt lonely and took my husband away for hours, leaving me alone, freshly operated on with a newborn. My husband is the kindest soul and forgives everyone no matter what they do. They did a small job together to earn money, and my husband asked him to split it so we could buy food.
I'm sorry, that line, my husband's the kindest soul, and let's, we apologize. Your husband's a doormat.
Your husband's a literal, doormat. His stepfather said he needed the full amount and did not care if we were left with nothing. My mother-in-law even called and said that even if we had nothing, my husband had to pay his stepfather.
Hey, that's not
Why does
how
your
money...
mother-in-law care?
That's not how money works, also. If we
Literally,
have
what does your
nothing, we
mother-
can't pay you.
Why does your mother-in-law care? Is this her husband? Are they still married? Because why isn't he with her? It shocked me that her husband mattered more to her than her own son and grandson. Things kept getting worse. My husband worked through September and part of October and still was not paid. Dude, what are you doing? Stop working there if they're not paying you. We tried delivery apps, but once we earned a few $100s, the app blocked the account and did not pay us. He found another job and that person refused to pay as well. What? Everything's going wrong and nothing gets better. What hurts me most is that we shouldn't be in this situation if his stepfather had not stolen the money.
I don't know.
His stepfather didn't steal the money. Let's get that straight. His stepfather did not steal that money. Your husband gave him that money.
Well, with the expectation it would be paid back.
I should not be starving, not if he had not lied and taken my hard earnings. And now, with the little food we have left, sometimes we only eat once a day. Every time I finish cooking, he conveniently comes downstairs, hoping my husband will invite him to eat. He has money. He has my money. He can buy his own food and eat whatever he wants. Because of him, I am suffering, and yet he still expects to eat from the little we have. One of you has to stand up. You are parents. You have a child. I understand that you are in a very awful situation, and OP, you have had the worst of it. But you are parents to a child that is relying on you and cannot do anything else, and you need to stand up to this guy.
This is how true crime documentaries start.
If the situation were different and he truly needed help, I would gladly share. But I will not help someone who took advantage of us and can easily buy his own food. Sometimes my husband did not have drinking water in the Texas heat, and his stepfather would eat away from him to avoid sharing. Yet he still expects us to feed him. Once my husband offered him the food I had cooked, and he ate everything. What was meant for the two of us, he devoured, leaving us with nothing. Another time, he left just a little food, and of course I served it all to my husband. I got so angry I could not even eat a single bite. I yelled at my husband for doing that because that meant we would have no food left while his stepfather ate happily and saved his own money. Now we have no food left, just 2 cans of beans. We have tried so hard to find work, but no one pays anymore. We tried delivery apps and they kept the money from a week's work. Today we're being evicted because we could not pay rent. We have no electricity, no gas for the car, and nothing else.
What do you mean you did delivery apps and they kept the money? What do you mean no one's paying anymore?
That's what I'm wondering.
What are you talking
That's
about?
what I'm wondering. OP keeps saying that they go to jobs and they don't get paid.
Where do we live?
I don't
They
understand.
said Texas.
I don't understand.
Am I crazy? They said Texas earlier.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know.
And he still wants to eat what little I have left. I opened a GoFundMe to try to get some help, but I'm terrible at asking for money, so I gave up. Am I really the bad one? Do I need to change? You do need to change. You're not the bad one, but you do need to change. You need to start standing up for yourself and your child because no one else is going to. Clearly. Your husband's certainly not going to do it. I just need some healthy advice because my heart is so heavy with pain. I managed to get food through a church. That same church also paid our rent, and another church covered our electricity bill. What did my husband's stepfather do? He slept all day while my husband struggled to fix everything. I'm tired of being seen as a bad person just because I demand respect for our home and our baby. We left the state where we had been living to start over somewhere new and hopefully find better job opportunities. Guess who came along without paying a single cent towards the moving expenses? Why are you acting like you're forced to have him there? We had to sell almost all our few belongings for pennies just to afford the trip. He sat in the passenger seat for 26 hours, eating and sleeping, without spending a single dollar. not even to pay for his own food.
At this point, I'm not saying you're an a-hole, but
You're certainly
You're-
complicit to a certain extent.
there you go. Thank you.
We rented the cheapest hotel we could find in the new place until my husband starts working and we can save up to rent a decent home. He didn't pay for the lodging either. I really don't understand why this man with a wife is staying with you guys. I'm exhausted and fed up with the situation. What frustrates me the most is that he hasn't paid for anything because he claims to have no money. Yet he hoards our few hygiene products. I've not been able to shower for 4 days because he uses everything up. Last night I hid the shampoo so I could bathe, and right in front of me he went through my things until he found it and used it. My husband does nothing. As calmly as I could, I told him I could not take this man anymore. He argued and yelled at me, calling me hateful, resentful, and hypocritical for trying to follow Christ while feeling angry. Is this your husband?
There's the angle. This is all because it's like you got to respect the elders. There's probably a church angle to this. There's a faith angle to this. Nobody just does this without some sort of something else going on.
How can I be kind when he keeps stepping all over us? We have very little money left and almost nothing for food, and my husband keeps blaming me. He says I'm a bad person for resenting him, but it's not fair. By the way, you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
Yeah.
There is a little bit left of the story, but
This dude's giving away $20K because he's like, well, that's what Christ would do.
yeah. He is
It's absurd.
actively neglecting his child by doing this. I know that sounds harsh because you guys are in a really awful situation.
That's
but
not even harsh. That's just fact.
That's just true.
He's neglecting
You're giving
you
away your
and
child.
Your
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
giving away your child and your wife's food to your stepfather who doesn't need it. I am only in this situation because he took my money and drained our resources. Even now, when we have nothing, he continues doing the same. But to my husband, I'm the bad one. I told him I do not want that man living with us anymore for my own emotional well-being. I do not want to see him again. My husband gets angry and insists he's going to stay with us. I cannot take this anymore.
Then leave.
Leave.
Get out.
Leave. Right now, I'm watching my baby sleep uncomfortably instead of in his clean and cozy bed because of him. And despite everything, I'm still seen as the bad one and the problem.
I'm sorry again. This is one of those realistic things.
Yeah.
You got to stop pointing the finger at people and be like, it's his fault. He's going to fix this.
Take
It's his fault.
responsibility for your own life.
At this point, you just got to just tie up your boots, walk on out with your baby, and just start moving forward and stop pointing the finger like they're going to fix it because they're not.
Comment 1. Wake the F up and leave your worthless coward husband. Until that happens, it's your own fault. And that's the only comment we got, which is pretty succinct.
My roommate called me controlling. Now she's leaving me homeless.
She just evicted you. You should watch your words.
I'm a 27-year-old female, and I have lived with my mom all my life. I am from the Caribbean, so it's normal to live with your parents longer than what most people may consider old. My mom is very toxic, super manipulative, and I have dealt with this all of my life. I've put up with it for as long as I did because apartments are expensive, and I'm unable to afford one on my own. By the way, this comes from Cost No 9826, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Riley.
And we're here to give you good advice goofily. But we don't have all the answers. We just know what we would do in this situation. So let us know what you would do in the comments. My mom lives in a cramped studio that needs heavy updates. While I lived with her, she made me start paying $200 to stay there and would still ask me for money outside of this. I didn't have a problem paying $200, but she was sharing the room with me. I had no privacy. She would barge into the bathroom while I was using it, play loud music early in the morning, and wake up at 3, 4, or 5 a.m. praying very, very loudly. In June of this year, I went to Jamaica with my friend to reset and relax because I really needed a break. The morning of the trip, when I was heading to the airport, my mom asked me to leave my car for her to use while I was away. I told her no. My mom has a car of her own, but it's in very bad shape since she doesn't take care of it and lets problems get worse instead of fixing them. So I didn't feel comfortable leaving my car with her. She got upset and said that when I came back from my trip, she would be taking the room for herself fully. After I returned home, my mom had packed up all of my clothing and personal belongings and put them in a corner in the living area. I had to sleep on a chair for a month. Doing this started giving me back issues, and it was the last straw since she still expected me to pay her $200 for rent while sleeping on a chair with no privacy. I started looking for apartments because I just had to get out. There's this girl that I used to be really close friends with, but we fell out about 2 years ago because she messaged my boyfriend on Instagram at 2 a.m. asking for his opinion on a situation that had been going on between me and her. He screenshotted the messages and showed me, confused as to why she was asking him for advice. I cut her off after that because I felt that she had crossed a huge boundary. She reached out to me on Snapchat in May of this year, saying that she was looking for my page on Instagram but couldn't find it since it was deactivated at that time. She said that she was checking in to see how I was doing and asked if I wanted to go to Jamaica with her for her birthday in June. Honestly, I thought it was a bit weird because it was so random and we hadn't spoken in 2 years. But I was going through a lot in May, so I opened up to her about what was going on at home and that I was looking to move out. She said she'd be open to moving in with me and being roommates. We exchanged numbers again and started apartment hunting. We found an apartment and managed to get the money to move in. At the time, I had used all the money for the move, so I had none left to get the electricity connected. I was honest with her about it and said that I'd stick it out with my mom for 2 more weeks until I got paid. She said that that didn't make sense and offered to pay for the light connection herself, and when I got paid, I could just give her the money back. I asked her if she was sure, and she said yes. I went to the power company with the money she gave me, but the connection cost about $140 more than what she had given me. I called her and told her this, and she said that she'd send her boyfriend to give me the remaining $140 to get the lights connected. Fast forward to July 1st, we moved into the apartment. My boyfriend bought me a bed set and a dresser to store my clothes. She saw me setting up my bed and texted me saying it was unfair that she had to sacrifice her money to get the light turned on for both of us, while she had to sleep on an air mattress and I was sleeping on a mattress. I was like, what? I asked her several times if she was sure that she could pay the full amount, and she said yes. Furthermore, my boyfriend bought me those things. The second incident happened before we moved in. We had agreed to split everything, including groceries. After she told me how she felt about the light situation, I was thrown off, and I told her I'd rather we each get our own groceries instead of splitting them.
No. She would gonna pay it, but she's gonna say something. She's gonna pay it.
She said that I was changing my words and that she thought we were doing this together and that I was being fake and using her, all because I wanted to buy my own groceries. Incident number 3. The first night we moved in, her boyfriend slept over, and then he slept over about 3 more times that week. One of the things we had agreed on was not letting our boyfriends sleep over so much that it felt like they were living there. There was one occasion when I went to use the restroom in my underwear and saw her boyfriend's car parked outside. She hadn't even told me that he was there. Once he left, I told her to let me know when he's coming over so I can dress more appropriately. She said, I was not going to let anything happen. I told her that that's not the point. Just communicate when he'll be there. This roommate is like, oh, don't worry. I'm going to make sure that my boyfriend doesn't do anything if you're not dressed appropriately. And she's like, no, the point is I just don't want to be dressed inappropriately around your boyfriend. That's what? Like, no one said that he would do anything. Like,
Don't worry, he's just gonna look.
After that, her boyfriend started coming over more frequently. She would text me around 12 a.m. to say he'd be spending the night, but I wouldn't see those texts until the next day. That bothered me, so I asked if she could let me know by 9 p.m. when her boyfriend would be staying over, so if I heard someone coming in super late, I would know it was him. I usually go to bed by 10 p.m. and don't see her late messages until the next morning. This made her super upset because she said that I was policing her and that she shouldn't have to communicate by 9 if she's paying rent and he's in her room. My roommate said she's a grown woman, and if she's paying bills, then she should be able to bring her boyfriend over whenever she wants, and I should just be fine with it. She said she'd stop just bringing him over entirely, which she did. We had another sit down about 2 weeks later, and she said she'd communicate by 9 when her boyfriend was spending the night and had no problem doing so. Fast forward to September, my boyfriend, who doesn't live in the same country as I do, came to visit and wanted to spend the weekend at my place. I hadn't seen him in 4 months, and a week in advance, I told my roommate that he'd be staying over the following weekend. She replied, Okay. 3 hours later, she texted again saying that she wasn't okay with it and was uncomfortable with him sleeping over. She said it was unfair that her boyfriend stopped sleeping over, which was her decision, while mine was spending 3 nights at the apartment. I asked her what exactly she was uncomfortable with and told her that he was going to stay regardless since I had given her a week's notice. I was confused because when we sat down the month before, she said it was fine to communicate by 9 p.m. When her boyfriend was coming over, she'd text me as they were pulling into the driveway after midnight. She then went to the landlord, who reached out to me asking for all 3 of us to meet. The meeting was long and drawn out, with 4 hours long, and I basically told them both that I didn't care anymore if or when her boyfriend slept over because the back and forth was too draining. Her boyfriend still didn't visit after that, saying he was uncomfortable with communicating by 9 if he wanted to stay the night. I told my roommate it didn't have to be strictly 9, it could be 9:30 to 10. She said that she had an issue with that, and as a grown woman, 25, she shouldn't have to communicate anything about her boyfriend. Fast forward to this Monday, I received a text from my roommate saying she would be breaking the lease and leaving the apartment. I asked what this meant since we both signed a 1-year lease that doesn't end until July 2026. She said she spoke to the landlord and her last day in the apartment will be November 30th. I reached out to the landlord to find out what this meant for me. She gave me 3 options. Move out November 30th, same time as my roommate. Find a new roommate to continue splitting rent with, or pay the $1,400 rent on my own. The landlord then told me I have until November 1st to let her know which option I'm going with. I think this is unfair because having less than 2 weeks to figure something out that was just thrown on me is unrealistic. By the way, it's very realistic that you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. And there is a little bit more to the story.
I'm sorry, OP.
yeah.
Facebook Marketplace has a great place to find roommates.
Actually,
but
yeah.
it's also Facebook Marketplace, so.
Facebook Marketplace. I mean, I wonder if you could tell the landlord too, like maybe I can pay that rent for like the month. Like the full rent for the month, and then if I find a roommate, like I can try to find if I find a roommate in that time, can I just add them on? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll be tough to figure out.
Yeah, I'm sure that would seem pretty lax for a landlord to do.
Yeah.
But we do have a little bit more of this story. I reached out to my mom and explained everything, asking if I could move back home temporarily until I figured out my living situation. My mom told me that I would have to pay her $500 of rent to move back home. I would still have no room and would still be sleeping on a chair. When I asked my mom what exactly the $500 covered, she just replied, "I have bills too." I'm kind of unsure what to do right now as I have no options. I have no other family members that I can stay with for a few months, and I tried posting ads on Facebook to find a new roommate. But honestly, after this situation with my now ex-friend, I'm kind of scarred from rooming with someone else. Any advice?
Nah, Facebook, you're doing it. You're doing it.
Yeah, you're doing it.
Or you could go to a church.
Another option I'm thinking of is like if your boyfriend gave you like a mattress and everything, I wonder if you can convince your mom to be like, okay, well, if I'm paying rent, then I'm gonna turn this living room into a room and I'm gonna just move my bed in here because you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. You got options. It's tough.
Yeah, it'll be hard for a minute, obviously, but I believe in you. I believe that you can figure it out.
Good luck, OP.
Good luck. But that's the end of that story and the end of this episode.
Yep.